This WAFLW live stream is brought to you by Optus, proud naming rights partner of the Waffle and the WAFLW. The rear-wheel drive V6 twin-turbo Kia Stinger. Simply Energy, proudly supporting WA footy. And the West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams.
Are you ready? Ready to go? Are you ready? Ready for more? Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, are you ready? Ready and now to keep going. And I can't stop. Are you ready? Ready for me? Oh my, Are you ready? Are you ready?
It's finals time in WAFLW for season 2020, and we're down here at New Choice Homes Park on a very windy day at East Fremantle Oval. It's the Sharks and the Swans, first semi-final. No tomorrow for the loser. The winner can go on to next week's preliminary final and play the team that loses out of Subiaco and Peel, playing in the second semi-final today at Leederville Oval. You can see the goalpost there. That indicates just how breezy it is here at East Fremantle Oval. It's normally pretty windy, but I reckon it's twice as windy as normal today. A really tough day for the girls out there to judge this breeze. So we see the Sharks going through their warm-up. They've made it through to the finals. They are the defending champs. They've won their last 3 matches, needed to win each one of those just to qualify for the finals, and now need to win a further 3 in a row to take out back-to-back premierships. They'll be taking on Swan Districts. It is a replay of last year's grand final, of course, which East Fremantle won. And here's our forecast for today, thanks to front row screens. A temperature high of 22 today. We've probably just about reached as high as we're going to get, I reckon, today. It's probably not going to get a whole lot warmer, but the winds are very strong, probably even more so than that westerly 20 to 30 kilometres. And there is a chance of some showers to come later this afternoon. So that would make things even tougher for the girls. So a start while the ground is dry could be very important for either team. See Evie Gooch there just helping out the Sharks with their warm-up. She won't be playing in the WAFLW season this year, but has been running for East Fremantle throughout the season. It's the Sharks and Swans. There's the black and whites going through their warm-up to the left of our commentary position. It's a big day for both teams, obviously. The loser, it's season over. The winner continues on and will be one step away from a grand final. David Lindsay with you in commentary. We'll introduce the rest of our commentary team after this break and have all the action from the first quarter. It's the first semi-final between East Fremantle and Swans.
All the great teams have many things in common. That ability to deliver when it counts. That certain style about the way they do things. That ongoing quest to be the best. And at Kia, that team mantra is everything. We're proud to support the WAFL and proud to offer Australia's best 7-year warranty. Because with Kia, we've got your back.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Oh, sorry. It's funny.
Dad.
Yeah. Party purpose.
Shh.
Bring your family together. Introducing Optus Family Plan with 4 SIMs and 250 gigs of data to share.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
There's the East Fremantle huddle as they prepare for the first semi-final here at home against Swan Districts. It's the start of the finals for the WAFLW season, second season of WAFLW, and they are the defending champs, East Fremantle. They take on the team that they beat in the grand final, Swan Districts, today. The loser, their season is over. The winner progresses to the preliminary final, and they'll be one win away from appearing in another grand final. Dave Lindsay in commentary alongside Clint Deggerott. Welcome, Deggers.
Happy Father's Day, Reg.
Yeah, sent to you as well. Did you get looked after this morning?
No. Actually, during the previous match, as the teams are on the board there too, Alex Williams on the board there, Plushke in the back line. It's a great back five. That back five has been successful all year. Wong, Schleiser and Catalano controlling the midfield. Half forward line, Norrish going forward after spending the season in the back, and Gabby O'Sullivan has been very, very dangerous. And Rosie Walsh, who's got a bag of 11 goals, 4 in the reserves game. Versace also clever around goals. Kim Bowie will shoulder the ruck as she's done all season. In fact, she's done for the last 3 seasons, and with her Brilliant and Gomes.
We'll have a quick look at the Swans lineup as well as we welcome Bella Lewis, the Claremont midfielder. Welcome, Bella. What do you like about the Swans lineup?
Yeah, I think they've got a lot of youth today, which is quite common in their side as well. They've got it balanced out by having Lauren Osborne and Fee Boucher as well. I think you've got the Hyde twins and Naira Anderson, Michaela Morrison as well, which will be good for them. Great
to have Bella with us in commentary. We'll hear a lot more from Bella and discuss a bit of her footy as well throughout the afternoon as it's East Fremantle going forward. They will kick with the breeze in the first quarter. We'll talk a lot about that in the opening stages as well. They've started brightly up towards half forward. Tinson gets it all the way to full forward. The spoil from Osmond gets over the back. Loose footy in the goal square. Might be happy to rush it through. No, the safety of the boundary line instead, and it's out of play for a throw in. Amy Ralph down there deep in defence, but the breeze will get a shot at the windsock at some stage as well, and the goalposts that are just going crazy at the moment. They're the tallest goalposts in the world, and they're really feeling the effects of the breeze here today. But the breeze heading towards the left forward pocket at the end that you can see right now. Definitely worth a couple of goals. Going to be very difficult to score at the left of screen throughout the afternoon. Lewis flicks it over the back. Tinson is lurking. Can't get to that footy. Quick snap on goal is successful for the Sharks. What a start from the blue and whites. And the goal has been kicked, I think it was by Plushke. And that's a great start from East Fremantle. Inside a minute, the perfect start really here, Bella, for East Fremantle. And they're a very good front-running side. They're not the sort of team, Bella, you want to let get a lead because they're hard to chase down.
No, definitely not. I think it's good that they started with such momentum. I think it sets you in good stead for the rest of the game. And, puts them on a roll, which is good to see. You
can see the windsock there, just how strong that breeze is. It's swirling a little, so the windsock's swinging from left to right, so it's to the pocket, to the goal square, and it's going to be heavily favouring East Fremantle in this quarter. And good start as we see the rucks set again. Bit of push and shove. Versace's on the ball, named in that pocket, but a good prime mover. She looks to be standing Webb. Wellstra, clean tap down, follows up her own work. She's knocked off it by Wong. It's Webb who chops the ball forward towards 50. Davison's waiting over the back, very clever from East Fremantle. Causing a stoppage early. Great hands from Schleiser.
The ball to be tossed in the air. Any opportunity in your forward half kicking to the left of screen today is valuable. If you could pinch a goal at that end, could make all the difference at the end of the day. Another ball up required. Sharon Wong last to get up off the bottom of the pack. Bowie with a hand in the air wins the tap as well. Knocks it in the direction of Ross. Free kick going her way. Tackled without the football. Wearing the long sleeves today. Wants to take on Hyde. Can't quite get around her. The hand pass gives an opportunity to Slisher. Hurried kick forward, but it's intercepted. And a chance for Morrison to set something up here for Swans. Normally uses the ball pretty well. This is a good kick. Davison got rid of her opponent. Ducks out the back. Lays the kick into the pocket. Boucher is the target. Boundary line might work okay as well. And we'll have a stoppage in that right forward pocket for Swan Districts. A couple of key players there, Deggs, in Morrison and Davison getting involved early.
Neat little connection too, or attempt to connect, and Davison certainly the dancing steps going. Managed to get around her opponent, and Norrish is set up in the back. In fact, she's going to compete for this ruck against her opponent, Boucher. Casts her forward in 2020. Down by Boucher perhaps. Nora Anderson trying to get through. Gets a little tap on the shoulder, and that's Jono Antonio, Bella. That's Ebony Antonio's brother. doing the umpiring here, and gives Naira Anderson a really good chance to get the Swans on the board against the Breeze. It's a tough kick. This ball will be taken from left to right. So she's going to have to start it well out on the Eagles post padding. She's kicked it into the man on the mark, just trying to overthink the Breeze perhaps. Brings Plushke into the game. Kicks it off the ground towards Wong. Davison again, busy early. Or was that Michaela Morrison flashing through? It is Morrison. Handball nearly to Grozowski, who lays the tackle on. And we'll get a ball up right in the forward pocket. Nice place to be if you're a small forward, Bella. You'd know how that felt.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to be in the pocket.
So ball up. Umpire asking the rucks to separate, and they do. In fact, no one going up for East Fremantle. That was the instruction. Williams takes it away for East Fremantle towards the safety of the boundary. Swans will keep it in. The mark has been taken by Stribley. Up against the boundary. She'll set it up towards the top of the goal square. Anderson will fly for this one. Gets over the back. Davison running away from goal. Can't find the handle. Nicely done by Norris. Just worried her out of it. Bundles a kick along the ground towards Wong. Spins her opponent inside out. And the pass is superb. Finds O'Sullivan. Going to be a key player today, Gabby O'Sullivan. She's been instrumental for East Fremantle over the last few weeks as they've got on this winning streak that has propelled them into the finals. That kick just continued to roll and bounce away, and it's out of bounds without anyone touching it. And it'll be a free kick to Swan Districts. Billy, you've played at East Fremantle Oval a few times in your career. It's a tough ground, particularly with the breeze we've got here today.
Yeah, definitely. I think you always find the wind when you come here. It's not really like any other oval. The goalposts are always swinging, which is not always to our favour, but you're going to work around it.
Neat intercept by Welstra. The mark not completed by Davison. And going back to exactly the same spot where this all started. So free kick again, this time to Osborne. Now Welstra, that was a nice mark. Osborne plays on, uses the left to get out of trouble. Chopped off by Kimberly Bowie. So Bowie, tower of work over the last couple of seasons. It's long and deep towards Catalano. Fisting the ball beautifully was Emily Maguire. She gets that out of bounds in the forward pocket. Exactly where the wind's blowing, I'd suggest. I think the ball's going straight there by Breeze. Nice controlled fist from Maguire early, her first involvement. Catalano dangerous, small forward, very quick. Ball in. Lewis unopposed. Can't quite get that to anyone in particular. Numbers around the football now trying to surge the ball out to the Swan Districts. It's back in Welstra's hand again. Welstra high. You can see the Breeze hold that up. Swans are just going to try and fight this forward. But Schleiser at the back of the pack. Missed tackle, Grozowski. Schleiser somewhat smothered off the boot towards the 50-metre line. Plenty of numbers as just the players start to settle themselves down. Meanwhile, Gabby O'Sullivan trying to charge through. Not much going on there. Not a lot of room either. Ball finally tumbled forward. Intercepting beautifully was Amy Ralph. Amy Ralph plays on quickly. Looking for Brianna Hyde. Finds her. Neat catch. Got a runner. Sees her now. Going to take the opportunity to be a little bit more aggressive with the kick, although it's intercepted. Well, intercept marks dropped in the end. Handball up, going forward towards Riley. Chloe Riley nutmegs through Maguire's legs, keeping it in down there, or almost keeping it in. Very dangerous forward movement. Sort of really took Swan's repelling run, turned it into attack.
Superb kick from Maguire on the way out. Finds Cox. That's the feature of her game. And now Swans have got runners on the wing. Holwell takes the mark. Has players inside. Webb is one of those. This kick's important. Needs to get to Davison. Williams came across well, worked the angles. And then first backed onto the footy. She will earn herself a free kick. Perhaps a little frustration there from Davison, because Williams just played that contest so well. Short pass hits up Lily Bird. Pops it over the top, and East Fremantle have got some runners. They've struggled to kick goals this year, East Fremantle. They've kicked 3 goals in each of their last 5 games. 3 of those have been winning games. Twice losing scores with 3 goals. That mark from Walsh wouldn't have been paid had she held on. It was touched off the boot. Here goes Swans again. Cox's hand pass misses the target. There's players there to back up though. Anderson gives it away. And now Wilstra into the middle of the ground. Nicely done. Sharp is away. She's got some pace. A couple of bounces. The second one doesn't come back to her. Now she's got problems. She's tackled and gone. Well, it's a nightmare when that happens, Bella. She thought she was away, but the second bounce didn't come back to her at all, and Plushke has wrapped her up.
Yeah, it was good initiative, I think, to run, but, you know, I don't think she had enough eyes to look around, whether that's communication from her teammates. Unlucky bounce as well.
Plushke be feeling quite good about herself, catching the very speedy Ashley Sharp. Her kick's okay in the hands of Catalano. Facing some opposition now, Wong. Pulled off the ball by Anderson. Gets a little kick away. Webb. Cox. Anderson. Hyde. Clever play by the Swans. A little bit too much for Cole. She just needs to see this out. She does a pretty good job in getting some grass forward for her team. It's Alston now fighting against Sharp. Neither of them will be particularly interested in keeping this in. And Plushke does the right thing and gets the ball over the line. Exciting ball movement. Both teams having a crack. Ignoring the breeze. Just playing their own games. It's wonderful to see. Good players around this ball. Krasowski. And win this one down against the shorter opponent. Versace, clean hands. Drives the ball out of that stoppage. Intercepted by Cripps. Paddles the ball forward towards Holwood. Always busy Holwood. Chased by Gomes. Just a bit too fast for Gomes on this occasion, but the kick favours Norrish, who has done this fantastically this season. Had to chat to her before the game too. She was very humble, saying the team was going pretty well. It wasn't her. Meanwhile, her kick bounces for Sullivan. She wears a hit and goes along to the square. Walsh sits at the back with Osborne. The ball's got to carry both of those, but it gets across the face of goal against the breeze. And one minor score, 7 points, or 8 points now. East Fremantle. Swannies yet to score.
Gabby O'Sullivan, Bella, such an important player for East Fremantle. What do you think of her style of game?
Yeah, I think she's very quick. She's always been a very quick player. She's got a big boot on her for a little girl, for a little woman. And yeah, I think the way she goes about her footy and just bombing it long.
Setting this one up as well, gives it off to Bird, and Bird doesn't miss from straight in front. O'Sullivan involved again, and great finish from Bird, who has started this game well. She's a real confidence player, and a couple of early touches. There's a smile on her face, which is always good to see. And East Fremantle have started this one well. They've got the breeze at their back halfway through the quarter. They've got a couple of goals on the board, and it's tough times here for Swans, Bella, because they've got another 10 minutes to hang on into this breeze.
Yeah, I think East Freo are really going with how quick they've been and how they're on a roll, I think, and which they have been in the past couple of weeks as well. So I think Swans just need to shut that down. They're getting quite quick out of the stoppage. Yeah.
Got some talent in the running department. Michaela Bowen coming off the ground there after giving her messages, and Evangeline Gooch on the ground now with her Taylor Breslin. So some class in the Silks today. Krasowski gets this ball forward. Versace again, just getting her hands on the ball early. Her kick's intercepted by Holwell, who's controlling her wing so far. Little dish off to Webb. Webb can go long. The breeze will hold this up. Sitting under it, Schleiser, but in front of her, Williams. It's tailor-made for her. She looks to go inside aggressively. Tara Stribley just hiding behind the umpire there. It's held without the footy. So a little bit of stress about her speed, I'd imagine. Nice, quick player, Bella.
Yeah, very quick and very skilled as well, which is quite rare to see in such a young player.
Long kick again for a smaller player. Though this kick's very wind affected. Sinead Davison will lead the chase out there. She's working hard. She's drawing a crowd too. She's had a couple of different opponents, all of high quality. Schleiser now has her. She's been shared by Alex Williams. Imagine Plushke will go past her at some stage too. So hands full, Davison today with her opponents. Walsh and Boucher. So they'll have the outnumber here, East Fremantle. Boucher kicks it out of the air. It's going to favour Inglis Hodge, who gets a handball straight away. Bit of a frantic play, and Cox is able to sit behind the ball and intercept. She wants to move the ball quickly too. Cox now assesses. Aggressive flat kick looking for Anderson. Norrish with her. Schleiser coming off the back of the pack. She splits. She looked to have a bounce. No, she goes long in with the breeze. Goes over Walsh's shoulder towards Lewis. It's Lewis. Really fast is Ralph. Faster than people realise when she first grabs the footy. She falls. Somewhat intentionally, I'd suggest, to try and tie this up. But the ball gets surged forward from this pack too. Goes out of bounds in the forward pocket. That was Cara Sprillian trying to show a bit of fleet of foot. Didn't get the bounce she was after.
Long chase for the boundary umpire to go and fetch this footy as well. It's the biggest ground in the world, and then there's about another 30 metres beyond the boundary to the fence as well, Dex.
And 45 metres worth of breeze at the moment.
You can see with the kicks going to the right of screen just how far they're travelling, and then even after they bounce, there seems to be an extra surge, extra push. And the ball's in a great spot again here for East Fremantle. This throw-in will land right in the hot spot. Walsh comes to the front to contest, brings it to ground. Sprillian comes through, tries to use the outside of the boot, doesn't get the bend on it she would have liked. Lewis almost reeled it in. The competitive Ralph wins that contest again, although the clearing kick just falls into the lap of a teammate, and Webb She clears as far as she can. Slicer gets back, can't take the mark. Davison does very well to bring her to ground. Umpire said the tackle was good. Close to the boundary. It'll go out of play. And a boundary throw in just beneath the scoreboard, which looks pretty good for the Sharks at the moment. 6 minutes remaining in the quarter. Wind assisted time here for East Fremantle.
Good throw in against the breeze. Versace's finding first hands in these contests. Kick nearly turned over again. Paddled instead of marked at this stage. Might be a chance for a repeat stoppage just for the players to get a bit of a breath at the moment. Peering off. Psiowski and Kimberly Bowie, not Bowen. Kayla Bowen running for the Swan Districts team. You see Versace tackled to the ground by Michaela Morrison, and we'll do it one more time.
Some definite matchups out there. I noticed Maddie Ross came to the bench when Bree Hyde came off, and they're standing at the interchange gates waiting for each other to come back on right now. Looks as though that's going to be a one-on-one battle for the rest of the day. And Plushke seemed to have the job on Sharp as well. So East Fremantle happy to identify a couple of one-on-one matchups, a couple of important players that needed to be shut down. Here's an important player for Swans in Webb. Kicks nicely on the lead, unable to take it was Lachlan Webb. Ball hits the deck. Through comes Cole. Her hand pass doesn't quite hit the target, but Swans do work it forward. And there's Norrish again, getting in front of Davison to take that mark. Been very reliable in defence for East Fremantle this year. Got that heavy strapping on the right knee. Really gets hold of this with the wind. It carries the pack, gets over the back, skips over the top of Catalano. Needs to touch this before it goes out. In fact, she does better than that. She keeps it in until Cox comes across. Makes a good smother. Ball still alive. Cole first to get there. Dragged off the kick by Versace. Here's Bird now. Swings onto the right, gains some ground. Riley traps the footy. Goes back and gets it, almost spinning out of that tackle. Swan's able to hold it up. Cox again with the kick.
Oh.
Nicely done by Cole. And her delivery to Boucher just had a bit too much on it. Williams leading back in the race, under pressure. Accidental socket towards the boundary. Keeps it in initially. Boucher comes in over the top and a little bit too physical and gives away the free kick. So East Fremantle to relieve again here at half-back, and it'll be Williams who kicks it long down the line.
Desperate play in defence from the Sharks. Fighting hard against the breeze, or with the breeze. So you can imagine how hard they're going to work in the second quarter. Whistle behind play. A little tug on the jumper perhaps. Professional free. It's Davison, who's been busy, working really hard in this first quarter. Kick's not exactly as she planned, but it's to a good spot for the Swannies. Tara Stribley along the ground at Schleiser again. One hand to pick up on the run. She's got to watch out. There's a bit of pressure coming from behind. She finds Kikamo. Michaela Hyde, pretty good in this situation usually. Chooses a handball rather than a shot. I think her second one will be a shot. Great tackle. Pinned the arm and wrapped her up. Pulled her really close to the body there, Sharon Wong. Maybe saved a shot there. Boucher. Norris this time wins down. Ball bouncing around. Davison keeping her feet. Nicely done, Versace. Just shoveling her forward is Hyde. And we'll have another ball up.
What do you reckon this breeze is worth, Bella? How many goals do you reckon East Fremantle need to be leading by at quarter time?
Yeah, I think they're going to get a couple more on the board. I think if Swans have the breeze... it's
Free kick going to Anderson.
Just playing in front, Anderson.
So she kicked into the man on the mark earlier this quarter from a similar distance. So her mind is telling her this is a tough kick. She doesn't shoot for goal. She kicks to the pocket, overcooks it a little bit. And Williams takes the mark, relieving in defence again for East Fremantle. So it's definitely on the minds of these Swans players kicking into the breeze that they just won't be able to make the distance from probably 25, 30 metres out. And that's a tough position for you to be in as a forward if you're thinking you need to get even closer than that to be having a shot. Bree Hyde's enjoying a little bit of time away from Maddie Ross at the moment, or Michaela Hyde I should say. She's got the blue boots on today, Michaela. The Hyde girls seem to change their boots every week, Bella. Is that something you've noticed about them as well? Hairstyles, boot colours?
Oh yeah, I think they've both got about 5 different pairs of boots.
Cox breaks through the pack, has a flying shot, no problems with the distance at all in her mind. Ball on the ground now. It's rushed over from East Fremantle. Wow. Just decided to make the play themselves, the Swannies. Jess Cox, turn of pace, and some penetration on the kick. Yes, the boots do change. I'd suggest there's a room of boots at the Hyde's house.
I'd say Imelda Marcos, but I'm not sure Bella would know who I'm talking about, Diggs.
And I don't think the Hyde girls would either. And I think they're a step below Imelda. collecting footy shoes is a good thing. Chloe Riley trying to surge from this pack. Lots of pressure from the Swans. Wellstra, who's had a good debut season, originally from Piara Waters, came across the Swans as an overage player. Gabby O'Sullivan just missed the handle on that ball as she went to handball it. She's probably running too fast for her hands to keep up. Sitting under this was Morrison. It falls to Boucher. Boucher flips around the corner, and she's done this really well this time. She's spoiled, but it was a push. Camped under the ball, Williams and Schleiser controlling this area. Probably doing a little more work than they'd expected. Kicks towards Wellstra again. Reading this beautifully was Michaela Morrison. So she gets out the back first. She just steps through the tackle from Norrish and goes long and, was it Norrish? Long and in. Schleiser again. Held up this time by Boucher. Must have run into Fee. Kicking off the ground is Boucher again. And that is in danger. Inglis Hodge, famous for doing the hard stuff inside.
Boucher even put the hand up to apologise there. Don't see that too often. But she knew she had made the error. So we're inside the last 40 seconds of the term. East Fremantle need to get at the length of the ground. They do have the breeze at their back. They need another goal to make the most of this win, and that's a big torpedo from Riley. They've turned it over the back of the pack. It's a foot race. Ralph will be too quick for Lewis, but then she needs to be clean when she gets there. Lewis with the pressure. Ralph has dived for the line, and the professional fumble over for a throw-in. And at least it will just allow players to shuffle back and help out in defence, because she was under siege there, Amy Ralph. I think it'd be a knock-on in rugby rather than a try.
Dual movement.
So throw in, ball clears the pack. Here's the chance for East Fremantle. No, the siren beats them to it. So it's quarter time. East Fremantle had a very strong breeze at their back. They've kicked 2 goals in the opening term. Swans could only manage 1 behind. Swans will get their opportunity in the second quarter, and we'll get to see just what sort of advantage this breeze is really worth. It's a 13-point lead to East Fremantle. This is the first semi-final here in WAFLW 2020. The Sharks by 13 points.
Hey, darling. So I was thinking maybe we could all go out for dinner.
Oh, I wish, but I need to finish this prezzo.
Oh, that's cool. I'll just take the kids. Okay. All right, bye. Thank you. But can I get...
Champagne, sir?
Yeah.
Bring your family together.
What?
New Optus Family Plan includes 4 SIMs and the McAfee Safe Family app.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
The V6 twin-turbo rear-wheel drive Kia Stinger. It took 7 years to create and 4.9 seconds to understand why.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Quarter time here at New Choice Homes Park, East Fremantle Oval. And there's the Swans team breaking up into their lines. Matt Riggio, who played his 200th waffle match yesterday and a win for Swan Districts, was down there chatting to one of the groups. And there's the Sharks huddle as well. And it's East Fremantle that lead at quarter time by 13 points. They had a very strong breeze at their back. They managed 2 goals in the opening term. Swans couldn't find the major opening. And things will be switched pretty quickly in this quarter, because Swans will look to take advantage of a breeze that really does affect the kicks. And you'll see on our highlights from the first term that balls flying to the right of screen seem to go a lot further than to the left. The first goal of the game for the Sharks. It might have been Catalano in
It
the end,
was
Degs, that
Caitlin
kicked
Catalano,
the goal. Dave Lindsay, Clint Degebrot and Bella Lewis, your commentary team today. And Degs and Bella, it was a entertaining first quarter, but the Breeze having a big say in the game.
It was. I thought Sharks really defended well, and Swans worked the ball into the 450 much more than the Breeze probably would indicate they might have. So Swannies probably had a good quarter. I guess, Bell, they've got the Breeze now. They've defended pretty well, East Fremantle, and Swans held them to 2, maybe with a 3-goal Breeze. So if you're the coach of the Swans, what are you thinking now?
I'm thinking, the Breeze is definitely going to help them, but I don't think they can fully rely on that. They've got a lot of youth who can run really fast, so really fit girls. So I think if they use that to their advantage and they get a couple goals on the board, they can come ahead of East Freo.
Davison looks like she's going to explode at any stage. She's working really hard, so maybe she can take the rear position with this Breeze, Bella, and we can see something special, maybe some high flying for her. You indicated that she'd packed her passport today.
Yep, I definitely told her to do that. I think, finals time. What a time for her to fly high, hey?
What about the Sharks? So the Sharks struck first, 2 goals in the first quarter, and then defended very well. So you're coaching them right now, Bella. What are you telling them?
I'm thinking that they definitely need to be watching Swans now. I think especially with the Breeze and with the run, they can be coming over the top of them. But that also comes down to with Alex Williams and Ruby Slashes, who's leading the back line. I think they're doing a really good job. They just need to keep the goal side and
You're seeing in those highlights there, Eliza Gelmy's got the job on Gabby O'Sullivan and doing a fair job so far. She's going to have her hands full throughout the day. I think best players for East Fremantle at the moment. It's Williams, Schleiser and O'Sullivan are playing very, very well. Versace getting first use. What about for the Swans? Who do you see is standing out, Bella, with the Swan Districts Footy Club?
Sinead Davison, definitely. I think the High Twins are doing really good work as well. Who else? Amy Ralph is doing well in the back line, stopping those intercept marks and getting it back out. Naira Anderson, I think her pressure's been really good. I think she just needs to be able to convert more, lifting those balls up into the forward 50.
And we're speaking off air, we think some of the Swans girls just need to back themselves to get the distance. Some very good kicks of the footy amongst these two teams. You'd expect both teams in the finals, both teams from last year's grand final. We're inside the Swans huddle, looking into the eyes of Emily Maguire as she revs up her team, and Holwell front and centre. And hasn't she had an interesting or good start to this game? She's a player that's introduced herself at this level, and the more and more we see of her, the more and more we see her controlling the wing, Reg.
She's an impressive footballer, got a lot of speed. Now, I was always fancied myself as an amateur meteorologist as a kid. And
now that you're a dad, it's sort of part of
kid. Yeah, it's part of my job now.
Get the bins out.
And I can tell you there's a massive rain front just hitting Rottnest at the moment. And the speed it's coming towards Perth, or Fremantle where we are, it's going to hit pretty soon. And the breeze is very strong to the right of your screen. You can see the ponytail there, Kimberly Bowie, struggling to remain in position. The umpire's just waiting for all the players to head into their respective areas on the field. Starting positions, of course, required in WAFLW. He's doing a bit of a head count, and he's ready to go. Second quarter, Swans with the breeze. Be interesting to see how East Fremantle play this. They're an experienced group. I think they'll have a strategy ready to go, defending the breeze going into their face in this quarter. And any goal you can pinch to the left of screen is going to be worth gold today. They've managed to work it slightly forward here, the Sharks. O'Sullivan, crunched by a couple of Swans. Versace at ground level can't wrestle that ball free. And we'll see a ball up. Already Maddie Ross has switched the player that she's looking after in the middle of the ground. She's moved on to Morrison, and as a result, Hyde is now free. Gets the kick forward for Swans. Coming up to meet it, Davison. Flops a hand pass over the top to Brianna Hyde. Gains some ground with this kick across the body, up towards Groskowski. Can't find the handle initially. Now Williams comes across, applies the pressure. Groskowski does pretty well to keep that ball in the area. Wong might have been legged. Umpire saw it that way. Free kick to Sharon Wong on half-back for East Fremantle. She just continues to find the footy deck. She seems to put herself in a good spot pretty much every contest.
Understands the game pretty well. She's played a lot of footy at a high level for a long time. Ball carries here. Kakamo can't quite get it. Versace taken front on from her own teammate and gets a free kick. I'm almost positive that was Kakamo striking Versace. Yep, Laura Anderson agrees. That was her own player. That is a very, very good free kick. I reckon you should run through the mark and give her a 52. If you're an East Fremantle player, Gelmy fighting with O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan outside of the boot. Kelmy first to react to this, and she runs past Tinson. Nannett's caring for her. Gabby O'Sullivan knocks her over and toes the ball forward. It's Osborne first. Osborne just cribbed and crabbed it a little bit, just so that she could buy herself some time. It's brilliant trying to get through. She's had plenty of time to get rid of that. And Osborne, a clever tackle, retarded her initially, and then the second grab was fantastic. No switch on here for Swannies. Obviously been instructed to go down the line. Osborne, long and high, carries Webb, and Tara Stribley takes that on the chest. Neatly done. Kicks low, favours Boucher. She's got a problem because there's 5 Sharks around her. If you hear the start of the game, you would have heard the Jaws music that welcomed them onto the ground. Chloe Riley hits the wrong side of the ball, gets out of bounds. What did you think of that, Isabella?
Yeah,
the Jaws music. They ran through Sharks' jaws onto the ground.
Yeah, very interesting. It's a good intimidation tactic, I think.
I need you to think of what's going to happen when the Tigers do that next year. When they run up through a blow-up Tigers head. Long ball in, first hands up by East Fremantle. Spills to the back. Lots of attention and lots of people around this ball. It's going to be very difficult to move out. Norris tries to get it going. Schleiser held up by Brehide. And eventually, we get a stoppage.
First sign of light rain falling. Degs, the other reason I knew the rain was coming, Elliot Rater came crushing into this commentary box. He doesn't like the wet. Got in out of the rain very quickly. He's hovering over my left shoulder right now.
I'm a WFC social media manager.
He knew the rain was coming. He can sense it like a puppy dog. You know how the dogs go cowering when the rain's about to come? I think Elliot does the same. Just snuck into the box. He's pretty safe and warm now.
Stick him on a mic in a minute.
Ball to be tossed in the air at half forward, or better than that, forward pocket for Swans. Out of the area comes Slisher. And Michaela Hyde, little toe poke towards her sister. Now it's a Hyde sandwich. Smashed a Shark, and Wong is very sore. Crunched by a couple of Hydes there as the rain just gets a bit heavier. And this won't help Swans much, Bella. Kicking with this strong breeze, you need dry footy.
Yeah, you do. I think Swans work well, though, in the wet sometimes. Yeah.
I think we saw them, Degs, at Bassendean against East Fremantle, where East Fremantle had that game under control. It appeared in the first half, didn't hit the scoreboard enough. And then Swans managed to turn it on in the second half, splashing through a few puddles.
That was at the Bassendean Baths.
It was, wasn't it? Now that soccer kick has gone out of play without anyone touching it, so Sprillin's given away a free kick. But it is a long way away from Swans' goal. Even with the breeze at their back, Osborne down the line, kicking the direction of Sharp, comes off the fingertips and it's out of play. We'll see a boundary throw in front of the cars on the outer side. One of the cars has seen enough. The nice black sporty number's about to head out the door. Not a bad spot to watch footy over there, provided you're in the warmth of your car, Degs.
I was going to say, it's a lot of balls going to be on that side of the ground. Wonderful that you're still able to get around the ground here at East Fremantle.
Even got the windscreen wipers going.
Just to make sure you can see the game nice and clearly. Whistle off the ball. It was a nice little ruck tap. Sharks by Oppo. It's going to go to Wellstra. Held after the ruck contest. So Wellstra attending the AFLW Combine after her duties are finished in the WAFLW series, and that probably sums up how well her debut year's gone. We testing and interviewing through that process, which is very exciting for those players involved. East Fremantle's kick down the line ends up with Bowie through Wong. Contest, Gelmy, O'Sullivan on the run. That's a very good block by Lauren Osborne, because Gabby O'Sullivan's very dangerous with a head of steam up. Ball bouncing around again. Lots of pressure. Swan set up well. Dragged in now. It'll be interesting to see what the umpire does with this one. There's finals, and you're on television, so get those holding the balls going. Lovely. Gelmy looking inside. Doesn't go to where she needs to go, but it's a wonderful pick up by Davison again, who's getting busy. Michaela Hyde drives the line. Krakowski can't quite finish. Arriving to help Anderson. One Shark there, or 2 Sharks there. Noah Anderson looking in the eyes of the umpire, and it works. Jono says she did drag it in. Noah Anderson now, it's a nice build up. Rain falling now. She steps sideways, goes long ball in. Breeze will hold it up. Davison's there, doesn't get a fly at it. Knocked away by Morris first. There is Sharp, and they all look content to get this over the line.
I think Naira can do a fancy footwork in any weather, really.
Yeah, it was a nice little shuffle.
Update from the second semi-final being played at Leederville. Subiaco 2-1 to no score against Peel at quarter time. You would imagine that the breeze, probably not quite as strong as East Fremantle Oval, but it would still be a significant advantage to one end. So We would assume Subiaco might have had the breeze in the first quarter. Half-time will tell us a bit more. Great to see Peel Thunder in the finals for the first time. Not so great for our expert commentator today, Bella Lewis, who missed last week with an injury. We saw you with the moon boot on, Bella. What's the story with your ankle?
Yeah, I've just had an MRI, so waiting on those results, but I think it's likely to be a couple torn ligaments, which is not great, but shouldn't be too long out, I think.
I suppose now that the Tigers have finished their season, if there's ever a reasonable time to have an injury, this is probably not the worst.
Yeah, exactly. I think best case scenario.
And Wong again, as she so often is. Last one up off the bottom of the pack. Hands the ball back to the umpire as this rain gets heavier here at East Fremantle. Wheelstrut and Bowie tangle. Wong goes to ground. Ball goes out of play. Throw in. 7 minutes of play already in this second quarter. We haven't seen a score as yet, and Degs, that will suit East Fremantle very nicely.
Yeah, you'd be pretty confident now that the rain is in. Play a bit of grass footy, some surge footy. Just take the wind out of it a little bit. The wind has dropped off a little as well as this rain has hit. Wellstruck controlling the ruck at this stage, I'd say, but she gets it down to Wong. Opposition team, of course. Wong trying to turn with the ball there in her hand was Catalano. Can't quite get a handle. Bree Hyde beaten for it by Tinson. Tap back from Sullivan was classy to Tinson. Long ball in now. East Fremantle on the attack. Amy Ralph going back. Can't quite read the ball. Walsh. Long kick in. Giving the Swan some length at the moment is Osborne. Tracking her is O'Sullivan. Osborne knew that. Knew she had to get that ball away quickly. Couple of speeches now from the Fremantle Dockers, both Webb and O'Sullivan. Catalano bullocked out of the way by Ralph. Gets it towards Gomes. Gomes can't quite find the handle. There's a bit of space in front of her if she wanted to get it into. Being run over there is Lily Bird. And safely done. It was a good tackle. Stopped the play and kept Lily Bird safe. Didn't give away a free kick.
Really like the competitive nature of Amy Ralph. Gives nothing away. Hard player to beat. You know you've got a contest every time you play against her. Gomes surges it forward 15 metres on the bounce in the opposite direction. Holwell. Ball pops out to Webb. Spins onto the right boot. Gets just enough on it to get over the top of Ross. Cole at the back has the footy. Gains some ground. Slicer coming back to take the mark. She's interfered with Davison. Cleverly just asked the umpire. Sorry,
Yeah.
whose free kick was it? Oh, the girl that I actually took high one-on-one.
Just a moment ago.
You always gain an extra 3 or 4 seconds for your teammates by asking the question. Good distance on the kick from Davison. No Swans players at the back of the pack though, so Norris gives it off to Riley. Cleverly uses the outside of her boot. It holds up in the breeze. And Davison takes the mark. Intelligent footy. Wants the switch into the middle. They're in the corridor now through Webb. She hits up Cole, who's had a good start to this game. Now they need the connection inside 50. She goes wide again to Davison. Promising build-up. Boucher on the lead. Kick in her direction. What a great pass. And good use of the body from Boucher as well. Kept her opponent at bay.
Now this is a tricky breeze, but if she can start it out at that left goalpost, you almost it makes it an easy kick.
Breeze is almost right at her back, isn't it? It's coming just over her right shoulder. She sets it up to the top of the goal square. Juggled attempt. Cole is there. Quick snap. Just misses. This is the best game I've seen Hayley Cole play, Diggs. 2 very solid quarters to start this match, but Swans can't find the goal that they desperately need.
Just with Cole, she's had some injuries in her 17th and 18th years, and I think she's finally free of those. We're seeing her be able to demonstrate her talent. Been with the State Academy for a couple of years. Now she's playing leg footy at Swannies, and this is Norrish in the pouring rain now, and she turns the ball over in the midfield to Cox. Now Cox cleverly, you can see how heavy it is now, you can barely see the picture on the screen. Looks for Maguire, who's come up from centre half back. Maguire, long handball into Anderson. Anderson's going to get trapped. She's pushed in the middle of the back. Both umpires called it. She isn't too far out to score now. Schleiser, a little clumsy. I suppose that showed the pressure that Swans had put on. What a handball from Maguire. Sort of changed the game there. Everyone is expecting the kick to go in, and East Fremantle was set up to intercept that. The handball, however, broke up play and put pressure on the umpire. You can see how happy some of these players are to be walking around. We're a half a step away from Hales. Nora Anderson's kick is on the way. It's going to fall short with the heavy rain. Scooping down the back there is Norrish again, and she drives the ball inside out along the line. Holwell first to get there. See if she can turn inside out. She can. How will the umpire see that one? All clear. So Holwell goes to the top of 50. Dangerous ball in for either side here. Tackles good on Williams. She's held up at the top of 50. And it's Hayley Cole again, doing it as a target
This is torrential rain.
As a target. You did call a storm. It is a storm. Sharp in the ruck. She takes the ball out, tries to break through. She's met by 7 East Fremantle players, and she is held up.
You can't help bad luck, Bella, but Swans are watching their wind-assisted time just get washed away.
Yeah, not great. I think they really need to lift up in the fourth quarter. Hopefully the rain doesn't come too back.
The bad news for them as well is looking at the windsock on the outer side, it's now pretty much just a straight cross breeze. It's going straight across the ground towards the scoreboard side, which means this is really no advantage to either end at the moment. Stripley soccers off the deck, straight into the belly of Bird. That's going to hurt. She's down a bit sore, slow to recover. Might need another stoppage here to separate them. Again, it's Wong who hands the football back to the umpire. If you've got a stat for handballing it back to the umpire or handing it back over to the umpire, Sharon Wong would be best on ground. She's been a very important player for East Fremantle at the bottom of the packs. Bird has recovered, sends his kick to the boundary side. Standing in the way is Cripps. Hurried kick forward, holds up in the breeze. Stripley does well to make a contest. Jess Cox comes in hard, ball spills out the back. Osborne, see a lot of this now. Ball will be on the deck for the rest of today. Stripley, just pulled the soccer kick at the last moment. No, the umpire said you committed to that one. Free kick goes to Wong. Courageous play again from the midfielder of the Sharks. O'Sullivan almost falling to the back of her opponent. The lights are on here at East Fremantle Oval as well. The Sharks might be on over the back. Little hand pass to advantage from Sprilliant, but Maguire standing in the way. Always composed when the traffic comes towards her. Ralph, hurried kick, lands in the lap of a teammate in Morrison, and Swans need to get things moving quickly.
Morrison down to Cole, controls this ball really well, but takes the catch and plays on. Wonderful play.
I think it's coming back for a 50 before the kick to Cole.
So we're calling
back
play
to Morrison
in front of the ball. So Morrison was dealt with after, or someone crossed the mark. Doesn't matter. Morrison, 60 out from goal. She'd get this ball very close to the goal square. She lays it up. Davison stays down. She's got the run at the back. Cole takes the front position. In her hands now, Davison, but a very safe tackle deep in the back line for the Sharks in Plushkey. Been a good player, Plushkey, for a number of years now. Recast as a defender and is a premiership defender. This ball hasn't come off the boot as she'd intended. Versace bowled over. Kicking off the ground now is okay. Swans are set up really well. Welstra traps the slippery flying ball and goes back inside or across the 50 in the end. Holwool starting to recognise her, swooping in with her speed. Back feeds to Maguire from Sharp. Dangerous ball in. Sharks in good position. It's Cole again. She's had a shot this quarter. Versace's down there helping out as a good midfielder does, but just a little bit of holding on. And Tara Stribley's speed again, just causing a few problems for some of the Sharks mids. Now, a solid kick of the footy. This is going to be a tough kick. Breeze now going across her. Wet ball. Accomplished young player. Technically very efficient. Kicks on its way. Watch the reactions. It slid across like he thought it might. It's been fisted through for a behind. Just a bit worried about the pace down there, Bella. I know you would. You can't really sympathise because it's how you make other people feel.
I think the Swans mids are doing well. They're getting it straight into the forward 50. I think the forwards just need to back themselves a little bit. That was good from Stribley taking a shot.
So Norwich brings it back into play. Kicks to the dead side of the ground. Gets good carry with the breeze. Slisher made the contest. Now Tinson gains some ground with her kick as well. Nice trap, and the Sharks could be away here. Versace will go off the deck. Nice little use of the outside of the boot. Wong gives it off inside. Bird puts the ball to ground. In fact, it's brilliant. Does nicely to get it back to Versace. Gains some more ground with the kick. Ralph leading back in the race. Being pressured and tackled by Wong. Ball spills out. Lewis. Strong contest at the footy. Hobble in there as well. Close to the boundary. In comes Michaela Hyde. And she's helped over by Lewis, and a boundary throw in. East Fremantle have got the ball into their attacking half. In this quarter, just the two behind scored, both Swans' way, and just 4 minutes remaining as the rain continues to tumble. Boundary umpire taking quite some time, just indicating to everyone where he's about to throw it. Might be best off just throwing it. Wheelstra in the ruck. against Prentice. Big height advantage to Wilstra. Knocks it down in the Davison direction. Wong comes sliding through. Nicely done by Michaela Hyde. Shrugged the tackle. Hurry kick forward. 2-on-2 contest. East Fremantle should be first in there through Bird. She's tackled by a couple of Swans. Crunched into the ground. And happy to take a ball up as East Fremantle chew up this time into the breeze. Their lead is still 11 points.
Bird did very well there just to ignore the oncoming traffic and just track the ball. Put a lot of pressure on Oppo as Michaela Hyde gets the ball going forward for the Swans. Tap back to Schleiser. Loses the football in the tackle. No Pryor. Random handball forward finds the opposition in Schleiser. Schleiser out towards the boundary line. Chasing that is brilliant. She can't get a hand on that. And it's a kick in to her opponent. Now, Lauren Osborne will be counting all these possessions she's having against her player. And if you ask Aussie at half-time, she would know exactly the kick count. I think Lauren Osborne's Guinea is ahead on that count so far. Stepping is Webb. Going wide towards the boundary, sort of going towards that dead side of the ground, but it's a neat catch out there. Finds Webb. That's Lachlan Webb. Her kick towards Michaela Hyde, who takes a very neat catch in the wet. She plays on immediately. Long and deep she's looking. A little bit shallow that. Bouch has got a run at it. Good spoil from Norrish. Trying to come through the other way is Williams. Morrison grabs her. And Morrison is within range. She's a clever player. She can think her way through this. Lovely to see Williams starting to make the play on her comeback from injury. Morrison just a little wise to what she was trying to do on this occasion. Very deliberate. Kick is on its way. Watch the Swannies. Looks to be very big celebrations out there. Michaela Morrison's got the first very late in the second, and it's 1-3 to 2-2. Swans will be looking for one more. They've got a minute, or they're going to have about a minute to kick another goal to make this evens at half-time. Michaela Morrison, very good kick in the wet with what would be right now a very slippery ball, but very little breeze to contend with that time.
Yeah, good goal from Michaela Morrison. I think that'll be good for Swan's courage now to carry into the third quarter.
There's the lights, they're on. Just the 5 light globes working for that little light stand. Doesn't do a whole lot of illuminating of the ground. And there's that windsock that indicates that the breeze has turned about 45 degrees. It's now going virtually straight across the ground. It was heading towards that left forward pocket earlier in the day. Not really providing an advantage to either end anymore. So just seconds remaining on the clock in this second quarter. Swans would love another one and snatch the lead before the break. East Fremantle have got other ideas, of course. Stribley on the wing. Has some space to operate. If she can take this one cleanly, she does. Hand passes over the traffic coming in the opposite direction. Brianna Hyde's had a very good quarter. That kick with the left boot just being affected by the breeze. Goes out of play, and the lasso move from the boundary umpire signals that it is a free kick. Do you like the lasso move, Bella? Are you a fan of the work of the boundary umpires?
Yeah, I think it distracts the players, to be honest. Everyone laughs at it.
It certainly distracts the commentators, for at least 2 of them. That's a fine mark for Swans. It's Davison. Judges the ball so well in the air, even in the wet. So Swans down by 5 points. Need to get this one moving very quickly if they're going to score before half-time. Might be a late injury in this quarter as well as a Swan down. Hyde emerging with the football just as the siren sounds. There is some concern there after that heavy clash of bodies. Is that Fiona Boucher down there? Some concern from Ruby Slicer as well.
I would have thought Fiona had blonder hair.
So an injury for Swans late in that quarter. Hayley Cole quite concerned for her teammate. We'll see what we can find out during the halftime break on that one. But the Sharks have got some spring in their step. They're jogging across the ground towards the safety of their change rooms. They kicked 2 goals in the first quarter to Catalano and Bird. Morrison with a very late goal to bring Swans back into it. Half-time in the first semi-final. Sharks by 5 points.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
The V6 twin turbo rear wheel drive Kia Stinger. It took 7 years to create and 4.9 seconds to understand why.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Hey, darling. So I was thinking maybe we could all go out for dinner.
Oh, I wish, but I need to finish this prezzo.
Oh, that's cool. I'll just take the kids. Okay, all right, bye. Thank you. But can I get
Champagne soup?
Bring your family together.
what?
New Optus Family Plan includes 4 SIMs and the McAfee Safe Family app.
Half time at a very wet New Choice Homes Park here in East Fremantle. And the breeze is even turning slightly towards the left of screen, as you can see on that windsock. So perhaps Swans might have slight advantage in the third quarter after having the breeze at their back for only about 10 minutes of that second term before this big cold front has hit the ground. And you can see what sort of effect the breeze is having on the goalposts here at East Fremantle Oval. It is half time. The Sharks lead at 2-2-14 to 1-3-9. The margin 5 points in favour of East Fremantle. Dave Lindsay, Clint Degebrot and Bella Lewis, your commentary team today. And Degs, the Swans had enough of the footy in that quarter, just couldn't really generate too many genuine scoring opportunities.
When you think about the game as a whole so far, they've had a lot of the ball in their defensive 50. They've had a lot of the ball in their front end, so they've actually controlled much of the play. The East Fremantle managed to be just a little bit more efficient a couple of times, particularly in that first quarter. Probably didn't have the second quarter that their coach had asked them to have, though. So I'd imagine that Webbo in there and her team will be pressing down a few must-dos in this quarter, while the Swans, I think, will be a bit more, can we just finish the hard work?
Bella, what did you like about Swans' play in that second term?
Yeah, I think they're getting more confident as the game goes on. They're using their strengths, which is their running, as I said before. So definitely in the rain, their mids are working really hard, and so are their backs as well against East Freo, which is good to see.
Saw Fiona Boucher in the highlights package. She appears to be okay. She got herself to her feet during the commercial break and jogged across the ground and has gone into the rooms. We'll see whether she's back out there after half time. Tara Stribley there just teeing off on one straight into the midriff of Lily Bird, and on a day like today, Degs, you cop a nice wet footy right in the middle of your body. You feel it for quite a while afterwards.
You want to be nice and tense, which I'm not sure she was. I think Lily thought she had the run of the ball there. Yeah, cold day. It would certainly turn cold now for the players out there. Lily Bird's been very busy, hasn't she? We're looking at these highlights, and so has Webb and Davison. A couple of players threatening to break this game open. No one quite done so yet.
It's probably a similar scoreline to when we saw them play at Bassendean during the season, when East Fremantle had the scoreboard advantage at halftime, and then Swans ran them off their feet in the second half. Really enjoyed the second quarter of Brianna Hyde. Thought she worked her way into the game after Maddie Ross had her covered in the first term. So will be interesting to see. And Bella, Michaela Morrison is a very good shot for goal, and even in these conditions had no trouble there.
Yeah, definitely. She's a very good kick. I think her kicking's only really gotten better. She's hitting targets, getting goals. It's really good to see. I think she's very dangerous by foot.
A couple of spectators in there with the windscreen wipers going in their big four-wheel drive, enjoying probably even in East Fremantle colours as well, Dex. So good position to be on a day like today. Last year, East Fremantle won the inaugural Optus WAFLW Premiership. So let's hear from star player Gabby O'Sullivan about her footballing journey and how East Fremantle has used their Optus grant to improve their female football program in 2020.
My association with the East Fremantle Football Club has come through my dad. He played 133 games of senior footy here, so when it came to playing footy, Shark Park was an obvious choice for me.
She's a bit of a character. She's funny, she is very light-hearted, she's always getting around people, she's very social, and then on field when you see her play, she is just a gut runner, she just doesn't stop. She's fantastic to have around our club and a really good role model for our girls.
Well done, Doc! A back kick and a goal. I never thought I'd see the day. So I played basketball all the way through my childhood, and then I was lucky enough when I graduated high school to be given a scholarship to go play at the college level in America, and I spent 3 years there.
It ties in well actually with football, so we get a lot of basketballers through the system, and you see at AFLW level a lot of basketballers do really well. Her transition was pretty much seamless, but I think just over the last couple of years she's just a dedicated professional to being elite.
When I came back from living away, it was halfway through the East Fremantle season, and I was lucky enough to play a few games for East Fremantle, and then Fremantle showed some interest in me and picked me up as their rookie for the inaugural season.
O'Sullivan straightens up, 45 out. So Gabby O'Sullivan, for the first score of the match, keeps it low. It's a good-looking kick.
Over the last few years, female football has grown dramatically, and I think that's thanks to more resources being put into the female talent programs, whether that's access to better coaches or facilities and even medical. We're just seeing better players come out as a result. Winning the inaugural Optus WAFLW Premiership was extremely rewarding to be a part of. You work so hard as a team, and then to receive that success at the end of the season is very enjoyable to be a part of.
And the winner of the Loon Knitting medal is Gabby O'Sullivan from East Fremantle Football Club.
With Gabby, her performance to get a best on ground medal in that game, just a real testament to her work ethic and all the hard work that she's put in.
Thanks to the Optus grant from winning the 2019 WAFLW Premiership, we've been able to update some of our facilities around the club, such as the medical room and a sea container where we can now store all our supplies. And I think the big thing for us was creating our own space around the club where the females could work out of and call our own. Having Optus as the major sponsor of the WAFLW competition shows the WA community that our competition is valued and important, and with the support of Optus, we can only grow.
Gabby O'Sullivan there, the star on the grand final day last year. She's been fairly quiet today, hasn't had her usual impact on the game, but there's still half a match of footy to go, and you'd expect that she will have her say in this contest at some stage. Some familiar faces there.
There's some players there.
From WAFLW and AFLW. A bit of talent sitting on the sidelines, as there always is, watching these WAFL women's games. East Fremantle lead at half-time by 5 points here in the first semi-final. And in the second semi-final, the update is that Peel have taken the lead just on half-time, 3-4-22 to 3-2-20 over Subiaco. So the Peel Thunder side in their first finals contest are leading Subiaco, the minor premiers, and there'll be some nervous Lions fans down there at Leederville Oval at the moment who they finished top last year, went out in straight sets, didn't make it to grand final day, and they would have expected a challenge from Peel, but I'm sure they would have expected to win. So big second half coming there as well. Best spots on the ground to watch the footy, apart from our commentary box at the moment, are in those cars. It's a feral day down here at East Fremantle Oval.
Either that or a cameraman's in the market for a new car.
That's right. He's just scanning, and I don't know if he likes the Mazda there or maybe the four-wheel drive. But some of the highlights here from the first half of football, and an early goal went the way of Catalano. But it's been a tough day for all players. The breeze favoured that right-hand side and in the first quarter, and then it certainly went more across the ground during the second term. So we'll keep an eye on that windsock on the far side of the ground. It's even, if anything, starting to turn a little bit towards the left at the moment. So we might have seen the breeze change all the way around. As you see there, Kimberly Bowie taking a mark as well. And the umpires are about to make their way back out here onto the ground. I think we need to take a quick break before we get started here in the third quarter at East Fremantle Oval. The Sharks lead it by 5 points.
The V6 twin-turbo rear-wheel drive Kia Stinger. It took 7 years to create and 4.9 seconds to understand why.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Dad!
Oh, sorry.
Just wait.
It's funny.
Dad!
Party purpose.
Bring your family together. Introducing Optus Family Plan with 4 SIMs and 250 gigs of data to share.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
Back here at East Fremantle Oval, Swans going through their warm-up as they prepare for the third quarter. They lead it, well, they trail rather by 5 points at half-time. 2-2 playing 1-3. Emma Nannett just going through her fancy footwork alongside Sarah Wilstra as the Black and Whites have a little bit of a deficit to overcome. It's a big third quarter for them as they look to stay in touch with the Sharks and see whether they might be able to overrun the East Fremantle side. Dave Lindsay, Clint Degebright and Bella Lewis, your commentary team. Bella, the Tigers season finished last week and unfortunately couldn't quite sneak into the finals. How did the Tigers sort of rate their season this year? Of course, made finals last year, but just missed out this time.
Yeah, I think we were definitely a bit disappointed. But, you know, I think we introduced a lot of new structures and the way we play as well. So I think that only just takes time. Hopefully that'll come through next year and really shine.
East Fremantle going through the old 1-2-3, 1-2-3-4 warm-up there with the huddle and the quick dance steps and getting themselves fired up for a big third quarter. A few smiles around the huddle as well as the rain has returned. It did disappear for a little while during halftime, but just as the players came back out onto the ground to start the third quarter, so too did the rain return as well. So Emily Maguire just leading her defenders back towards their defensive 50.
2, 3, 4, 5 smiles on players coming to the bench. The runner is also smiling. So is S&C coach Hannah Hong. So Swans look comfortable and happy prior to the start of this game. So I've never seen 5 bench players run off more spirited.
Maybe it's because of the weather.
Oh, they're all wrestling and pushing each other and telling stories and giving each other some lip. It was good.
Here's an interesting move. Sinead Davison will start in the centre square here. And Maddie Ross has come straight across to her. I'd say Maddie's been given the job to take the most dangerous midfielder at all times because she's had a little bit of Morrison, a little bit of Michaela Hyde.
Number 5.
Yep. She's in there now as well with Sinead Davison. Versace and Webb on this side of the umpire as well. He's about to hold the ball aloft and get things underway in the third quarter. They call it the Premiership quarter, and it's a massive one for these two sides. The loser of today's contest, their season is over, and the winner will play either Subiaco or Peel Thunder in a preliminary final next week. They'll be the away team in that contest. As this ball's not coming out. In fact, the umpire says you dived on that. And it's going to be holding the ball against Chloe Riley. Tough call. The free kick will go the way of Michaela Hyde. I said during halftime I've enjoyed Brianna Hyde's quarter. I met Michaela. She was fantastic in the second. Not for the last time will we confuse the names or the faces between the Hyde sisters. Out the back door, Stribley towards Cole, who also was very good in the second term. Neither can win that one. Gomes with almost a karate kick to get the ball out of the congestion. And back in the race, Swans were first to the footy, but immediately wrapped up Davison, and we'll see a ball up.
Bella had some research about the Hyde girls. Didn't you tell us earlier they were twins?
Oh, yeah.
Ulstra. The blank look was worth $1 million from Bella Lewis. She thought I dropped her deep in it. As Kim Bowie holds up Bianca Webb. Versace's pretty close to Webb as she has this game. Bowie this time just smashes it down. In the path this time, Michaela Hyde. Knocked from her grasp was Versace off the ground towards half forward for the Sharks. In the way though, Swans backs working hard as they have today. Gelmy flipped up by Versace. She got a little, didn't get 2 hands that one, so that's a little throw. Goes to Bree Hyde. The Brown to Hyde, centre of the ground. Breeze now blowing straight across the ground. Reading it beautifully at the back. The pack there was Ashley Sharp, but she can't get onto it before it goes over the line, and it will be kicked in. The big hoop lasso signal goes. Quick play on from the Sharks. Ball towards Versace, takes it cleanly off the bounce. Bit of pressure approaching her from Davison. Gelmy in front of O'Sullivan. O'Sullivan arrives to put the pressure on. Gelmy is pretty keen to wrap her up. And a pretty good effort out that side of the ground from two players that have really had a good crack at each other today.
Yeah, Gelmy, she'll know her job won't be finished until the final siren with O'Sullivan, but so far it's so good as far as she's concerned. That ball's come off the hands of the Rucks and straight out of bounds for a throw-in front of a dozen or so cars on that bank. Davison and Wong taking their position as the umpire with the headband on comes inside the field of play to throw it back in. Do you like that rule, Bella? Boundary umpire coming 10 yards in to throw it?
Yeah, I think it opens the game up a lot, actually.
Every expert commentator we've had on throughout the season loves that rule. Be interesting to see if it gets transferred into the men's game at some stage as well. O'Sullivan tackled by Gelmy. Ball spills out. The Hydes combine again. Brianna receives from her sister. Nice use of the opposite left there and sets up Maguire. This is a player Swans like the ball in her hands. She normally kicks it a long, long way and normally pretty accurately, and this is no different, although it slipped through Wilstra's fingers straight to her opponent in Bowie. Sends a torpedo straight back to Maguire, and in that play they've gained about 10 metres, Swans. So Maguire to reset just backward of centre. This kick lets her down. She pinpoints it straight to the chest of Wong, who has it for East Fremantle, left half back. Sharks by 5 points.
Wong finds Ross. Tagging job, but still finds plenty of the ball herself. It's been a revelation in 2020. Maddie Ross, State Academy physiotherapist. Retired a couple of years ago. Come back one hell of a player. Maguire. Through the legs of everybody there. Webb's trying to find the ball on the ground. Doesn't find the ground, the ball, but finds a body. Lays out Ross and the ball goes out of bounds. Good question for Bella Lewis. Do you like the ball being thrown to the corridor as a mid-small forward? Does she want the ball tossed into the top of the goal square? Yes, she does. Licking her lips every time she gets that chance. Bowie in the stoppage. All spills forward and all players there just, I reckon, just tacit agreement just to get a ball up. See if we can't get some distance between each other and get this ball moving again. So arm wrestle early in the third. Versace, a lot of kicking the ball off the ground today. She has got a soccer background. Wong, she's got a touch background. Kicks the ball forward. Ball in contest again. O'Sullivan lurking in the area. Trying to round this up. Can't quite get done what she was planning. Still in the contest though, as Dave Lindsay said earlier. She's never out of it. Maddie Ross blocks for Gomes. Gomes, Catalano tries to get this ball to go through. Amy Ralph. Lovely paddle in the end to Lauren Osborne. Lauren Osborne pulls the ball over the shoulder. She'll be looking for the boundary line, I'd suggest. Keeping it in East Fremantle. Webb goes the wrong way. And Versace steps it over.
Here's your tip from here, Bella. What do you reckon? East Fremantle by 5 at the moment.
Yeah, I think East Fremantle, they're going this way, hey?
Correct.
Yeah, I think they just need to lock it in their inside 50. I think the Swans defenders need to work a little harder and keep tagged right on the East Fremantle forwards.
Free kick picked out from this contest, going the way of Davison, playing on the ball in the third quarter to start at least. The windsock certainly suggesting the breeze definitely going straight across the ground, but if anything favouring the left of screen at the moment, and that kick from Davison clears the pack. Morrison knocks it to her own advantage. Can she soccer it on again? No, she's better than that. Gets down low and picks it up. Kicks towards Webb. Clean bowls her. Out the back door, Nora Anderson. She just came on through the interchange gates. Straight into the action up forward. Some good contest there. Anderson paddles it forward to Sharp. Dangerous from this position. Sharp skids it through for a goal. First goal at that end of the ground throughout the entire match. And for the first time today, Swans take the lead. They lead it by a point. We've played 5.5 minutes in the third quarter. It's 2-3 to 2-2. And that was great ball movement here, Bella, from the Black and Whites.
Yeah, I think it was really good of Michaela Morrison to back herself to not soccer it and pick it up. She's got pretty clean hands in the wet as well, and lower her eyes and try and hit the target.
Nora Anderson too was tangled up. She got to her feet and she paddled the ball Sharp's way too. So one of those ones that doesn't get recognised on the stat sheet, but definitely caused a goal to the Swans. Well, almost against the play, or they've been threatening to build, haven't they? East Fremantle continue to have the answers against Swans' onslaught. That time the ball finally getting a little deeper. Restart. Wilstra and Bowie. I don't think they've separated today. A lot of work off the ball there too. Versace. There's great hands from Michaela. Hyde. Davison. Ruby Schleiser leads the race for the footy. Good defensive pressure. Agile player. Going the other way was Holwell. Getting the ball forward now, the Swans, towards Marnie Elson, though, for East Fremantle. Elson's being tracked by Anderson. Anderson does put a bit of pressure on her. Doing some hard work behind the ball was East Fremantle. Was there early and was just pulled off it. Wong looks towards the line. Too much on it for Bowie. Stays in. No, it doesn't stay in. It goes out. And the lasso's caught again. He's just starting to get into his work over there on that lasso. Starting to bend the knees, thrust the hips.
Just finding a way to keep warm, I think.
Yeah, well, it's a couple of different ways to keep warm out there at the moment. One of them is to have the ball in your hands. That's Versace. Gets it on the chest. It's been important today. Just taking grass off the Swan Districts Footy Club. A long kick towards, well, no target in particular. Coming out of it, looks like Tinson finds a way. Gets it to Ross. Ross down the line, intercepted by Osborne. Good tackle, O'Sullivan. Did she carry her forward? She did. Just a little overzealous, and that's 50 now. Unfortunately, East Fremantle banking on holding the ball. Not in the back. That's Maddie Ross, a little stroppy. So she's just grabbed Emily Maguire in a headlock. Emily Maguire's thrown her to the ground and they've reversed it. So they missed the first one. They've seen the second one. That's the second time. Maddie Ross knocked over one of the Hyde girls in the corridor.
No, the umpires have disagreed. They've paid the 50. They might have paid a second 50.
What happened is this umpire that's in control now called the first high one.
Before the...
Then the second umpire looked and saw Maguire throw. Well, she didn't really throw Ross to the ground. But in the end, 2 50s. And this is in the hands of one of the all-time great
That might be
fullbacks.
3 50s now, I reckon, because they've gone all the way to the goal line.
Now, the runners are with Maguire at the moment, trying to keep her calm. There's one of the greatest backmen that's played the game for Swan Districts. And she kicks the ball from the kickoff line. And she tries to pop a forward drive window. She can't quite get the penetration. And she's smiling and happy. Swan Districts, some undisciplined football behind the play. Twice by the same player, I fear. It's given 2 50s away. And Lauren Osborne has kicked a rare goal in her career. It's been a bit of time as a pressure forward and a little bit of time in the midfield. She was a winger as a kid. But boy, has she got a reputation as a staunch backman.
Well, that's frustrating for East Fremantle. And Osborne's running the length of the field to get back to her position.
And she's not going to go all the way. She's passed off the goal square duty.
Could be a critical moment in the game. Clock on our screen says 2 minutes played. It's actually about 9 minutes played. So we're just about the midway point of this third quarter. And it's a 7-point lead to Swan Districts. So they have kicked the last 3 goals of the game. East Fremantle haven't scored since quarter time. In fact, they haven't scored since halfway through the first quarter. They led 2-2 to nothing after 10 minutes, and they haven't scored since. They will go forward this time. The kick towards half forward. Through comes Maguire. Crucial player here for Swan Districts, especially with the breeze at her back. Her kicks travel so far. This one's gone a long way out towards the wing. Holwell gets down low to win the footy, and a clever hand pass gives Hyde a chance. Michaela Hyde shrugs the tackle and then kicks to centre half forward. Slasher's read it well. Didn't take the mark though. Anderson roving. She's caught immediately and dropped the football. So that's holding the ball. And Versace can slow things down for East Fremantle. But Bella, I reckon Swans have got a fair bit of momentum up here at the moment.
Yeah, they're definitely getting more confident. I think with the physicality going in, you just need to stay calm, and I think that's what really cost East Free on the end.
There's a 90-metre play by Gabby O'Sullivan. It's 30 metres paddling the ball on a 60-metre kick, which I think equals 90. The ball's fumbled over the line by Catalano, who again just continues to do a wonderful Ashley Atkins impression. Hits the scoreboard like Happy too. Happy would love to be out there, I imagine, with her teammates. Was in the team last year. Gabby O'Sullivan getting the medal, but Gooch Atkins very good in the same game. Wonderful series of handballs. Gets this ball towards half forward. It's in the pathway of Olivia Cripps now. It's a pressure forward. She's played most of her football in the back line. Good 1-2 with Schleiser. Sees Norris drive the ball along the boundary line. And it's gone out of bounds without anyone touching it. So it must be something to do with the breeze pushing the ball over there on the far side. Hyde's involved in that last play. This is Holwell. Holwell, hard to mark in this contest. That was a wonderful body spoil from Norwich, but the ball's at the back with Davison. Knocked off by Wong Clever. Anderson one way then the other. Gets it to Davison at the back. This is a promising build-up. Coming towards the ball is Webb. Webb takes it on the chest in front of Alex Williams. Now, only 4 people. There's only 4 players ahead of this ball, and it's 1v1s. A long ball in here will really help the Swans. Finally gets it on the way, chips it up. There's a bit more company now, unfortunately, for East Fremantle. But Versace drops the ball. Battling through her legs was Michaela Hyde. Tackled off the ball was Morrison. Coming front on to attack this ball was the 15-year-old in Olivia Cripps. And the umpire will call for a ball up. There's some youth around this ball, Isabella.
Yeah, you've got Olivia Cripps. Chloe Riley as well is doing quite well to lead the youth as well.
Sharp thought about taking that out of the ruck. Versace with a quick clearing kick, gained some ground. Free kick picked out. Goes Swan's way. They surge it forward to the top of the goal square. Can they produce a shot on goal? Little toe poke. Sharp will collect, gets down low. Doesn't snap it over the shoulder. Nice little knock on there from Anderson. Here's Webb. Anderson goes again. Can't quite find the handle in the slippery conditions. Wong again working at the bottom of the pack. East Fremantle just desperately hanging on. Oh, that could be kicking in danger. Free kick. Slisher just wound up into that. She did slightly pull the kick a little bit just at the last moment, but it was dangerous. And Michaela Hyde, who last year finished second in the league goal kicking, has played majority of the season as a midfielder. But Bella, we know that she is pretty sharp around goals.
Yeah, she's very good small forward. I think she gets a lot of run-on goals as well as taking set shot goals. She's got a pretty long leg as well.
Tough kick from here. The Breeze will push it from left to right. But it's a deliberate approach. She's angling a bit right with her run up. The kick's on target early. It starts to drift, holds its line at the last moment. That's a wonderful kick for goal from Michaela Hyde. And Swans have kicked 3 goals this quarter. And this lead has blown out to 13 points. It's as much as Swans have led all day. There's about 6.5 minutes to play in this quarter. But her work from quarter time onwards has been fantastic. As she comes to the bench, there'll be a smile on her face as she trades places with her sister. But Bella, this has become very tough. I won't say that it was ever since you said it looked like East Fremantle will win this one, but ever since you said that, it's been all Swans.
Yep.
I want to mention Nora Anderson too. Apart from to get Bella out of the hot seat, Nora Anderson again just kept that ball alive and kept on trying to get it going forward. She kept her feet. She looks like a player that's really keen to play next week at the moment, Anderson.
It must be something to do with that seat that Bella's sitting in, because we've had some AFLW stars sitting in that seat, and every prediction they made went the opposite way.
The other way.
And yes. Bella's following suit. So
it's the opposite King Midas chair. Everything you touch doesn't turn to gold. Wellstra looks to have a clean run at this over Prentice. Prentice 165 centimetre ruckman. And Wellstra get a chance to assert her height dominance again. Love these contests around the ball, one-on-one. A lot of players matched up beautifully there. So coaches on their homework. Prentice does get this hit down. So kudos to her as a short ruck. Bree High doesn't quite get enough on that ball. Well, she's got a chance to toe poke it out towards, but this time it's Gomes. For East Fremantle tumbles it towards. Osborne, the goal kicker. A couple of goals ago for Swannies. Osborne, Lewis. Lewis just gets the ball forward to a good spot for East Fremantle, but there's plenty of Swans to do the job here. Ralph comes out and thumps into Sprillion, trying to buy Maguire some time. He's being harassed. Does well not to chop across Versace there. Walsh now roving well. Handball forward, though, intercepted, and will be driven by Swans towards the line. Wellstra can't quite hold on. Ball going back inside again. Starting to look a little bit like a pressure build up. This time Versace is taken high, though. Versace chose to lose her feet there. It was high. But gee, Webb did everything she possibly could to make sure Versace was okay. Tough kick again. She's basically going to be kicking almost into this Breeze, which is really odd the way the ground's set up or the way the wind's going. Because it's blowing across her left shoulder. She'll have to start this well out to the right. She's a very good kick of the football and a very good shot for goal, he says, as she kicks the ball to a leading Worm. Now this time it's Sprillion. Sometimes the Worms can be really loud out there in the wet. Ross camped under the footy. Good pressure from the Swans. Players everywhere again. It's becoming a very pressured scramble here. The ball's bouncing around inside. Naira Anderson doing the same job in the forward 50 a moment ago. Somehow gets that to Webb. In the hands of Tinson. Tinson tumbles the ball end over end. Ralph through her. Camp back there's Maguire.
Maguire does nicely to step through a fair bit of traffic there and decides to go back out to the dead pocket. The kick is sensational. Thought Ross might have just grabbed the jumper at Davison. The two battle on again. Great contest. And we'll see a ball up. Now, Deggs, if there's ever a worse time to make a prediction like that and have it come straight back into your face, it's when the Footy Commission social media manager is sitting right next to you. He's right at this moment cutting up that vision, and that'll be part of the highlights package at the end of the season.
Clearly heard the snigger.
Again, Ross and Davison tangle. I'll be making no predictions for the remaining quarter and 3 minutes because Bella's been stitched up, Deggs has been stitched up. I won't be putting my money on the line at all.
I stand by the fact Versace is a good kick of the football.
Now the clock on the screen says 9:30 gone in this quarter. It's actually about 16:30 with all the rain and wind and everything here. There's been some technical issues as well. It's been a great effort to get on the screen at all today with the weather we've had out here. Ross for East Fremantle trying to get them forward, but Webb's in the way. Gives it off to Wheelstra. Kick goes virtually straight up and down on the spot. Tinson knocks it away. Davison just gets her body in the way every opportunity she can. Makes it hard for her opponent. Little soccer kick from Sharp. Rebounds off the shins of an opponent. Slicer a little fumble. Caught by Cole. Good tackle. She stands up in that tackle and we'll see a ball up. So just inside the last 3 minutes of this quarter, it's been all Swans this term. They've kicked 3-0.
Wellstra down. Ross roves the ball. Holds on to this a long time. Has pulled over her leg and that is holding the ball. Davison and Ross have been going at it for a little while, enjoying each other's company. I didn't like the way Ross's leg was pulled over in that stoppage, so a bit of an issue about halfway between her ankle and her hip, I'd suggest. Don't want to say that K word at all. On her feet, which is good to see. Sinead Davison with the ball. Just a little twist up. Just as Sinead Davison finished that tackle. Long ball in. Carry everyone here, or off hands to Sharp, and she loves this situation. She says long ball in. Williams is in the box seat for East Fremantle. Could carry her. It gets to Morrison. She can't quite get the handle. Dangerous setup for the Swan Districts Football Club with some excellent players and very, very clever goal sneaks lining up.
I think if that had gone off the hands the right way, Morrison definitely would have gotten that.
She's in a good position, wasn't she? As Williams gets it back into play. Holwell stands in the middle of the pack. Can't quite take the mark. Good contest. Ross has recovered, which is good to see. Gains the bouncing footy. Opposed now to Osborne. Osborne slaps it into a boot. Umpire trying to work out which way it was going. No, it's come off hands. We'll see a boundary throw in.
Maddie Ross has taken some angry pills today. She's up and about.
She's had a job to do, hasn't she? She's been sort of cast in a role as a shutdown midfielder, still finding a bit of the football. Just going back through the notes from that game we saw at Bassendean a few weeks ago, Deggs. East Fremantle led 2-2 behinds halfway through the first quarter in that one. Today they led 2-0. And from that moment on in the previous game, it was 5-1 to Swans. And in this game, it's 4-0 to Swans. So it's almost an absolute repeat of what we saw in the wet at Bassendean Oval about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Conditions far worse that day. You called shallow end and deep end.
It was. There were puddles everywhere.
This morning you called the narrow end and the wider end because at one end the posts are closing, as you pointed out. At the other they're opening. Posts are a little stiller than they were before the start of this game. Some good ball movement with some Stribley and Morrison to get this ball into this position for a boundary throw, and it's Michaela Hyde trying to get the ball going her way. Now it's Cole. Cole's had her hands full today. She's played on a couple of good players as well as Marnie Alston holds her up. Good tackle. Umpire, throw this up. Dying moments of this quarter. East Fremantle looking for the boundary line. Schleiser very clever, but Anderson, again, looks like a player, as I said before, that really wants to play next week. Gomes swoops on this to try and clear for the Sharks. Jess Cox put her head in the hole. What she needed to do was terrific for the Swans. Prentice tries to get through. Cox again. She's rebounded and tackled inside forward 50. And that's the quarter, a quarter that belonged to Swan Districts, where they have caught up and passed the East Fremantle Sharks. This game's not done because the East Fremantle Sharks will never be washed clean of any team, but Swan Districts at the moment are feeling reasonably comfortable, Dave.
Big quarter from the Swans. Goals to Sharp, Osborne and Michaela Hyde. It's given them a lead of 13 points with a quarter to play here in the first semi-final. They're pretty happy in the Swans huddle at the moment as they take a 13-point lead into the final break. The loser of today, it's all over for them. The winner goes through the preliminary final. We've got 1 quarter left here at East Fremantle Oval.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
The V6 twin-turbo rear-wheel drive Kia Stinger. It took 7 years to create and 4.9 seconds to understand why.
Hey, darling. So I was thinking maybe we could all go out for dinner.
I wish, but I need to finish this prezzo.
Oh, that's cool. I'll just take the kids. Okay. All right. Bye. Thank you. But can I get
Champagne, sir?
Yeah.
Bring your family together.
What?
New Optus Family Plan includes 4 SIMs and the McAfee Safe Family app.
If you need it live streamed, you need Front Row Screens. Visit frontrowscreens.com.au.
Sometimes it's easy to just go with who you know. So here's what you need to know about Simply Energy. We're proud supporters of WA Footy. You can get 50% off our gas usage charges when you pay on time, and with service that's hard to beat, we make switching simple.
We're inside the Swans huddle here at three-quarter time, and what a fantastic quarter they played during the third term.
Any player that can make sense of the diagram on the back of that board.
It's obviously a cryptic message.
And any player that's been coached by me has seen a drawing as bad as that.
Dave Lindsay, Clint Degrott and Bella Lewis, your commentary team, as East Fremantle are called in for one last time. Webbo, their coach, will be giving the final message, and they've got a lot of work to do. As they trail by 13 points, we'll see some of the highlights from the third quarter. And Emily Maguire was very important in that term as they got themselves into top gear, Swan Districts. And Degs, it was something you noticed at halftime when they came off the ground. There were smiles on the faces. They were behind, but they were pretty comfortable. And they really got their game into top gear.
Some of Nora Anderson's good work there. Yeah, I just look happy. Joe came off smiling. A couple of coaches came off smiling. They're doing it again. They're pretty calm. I guess it is supposed to be fun. We're not getting paid big bucks, so you have to enjoy it. But Sharks will be feeling all the pressure right now. But I'm assuring, despite that massive smile on Joe Taylor's face, that they know they've got their hands full to complete this game and continue their season. Bella, what are East Fremantle going to do in this quarter? I'll ask you a better question. Which side of the ground are you playing on? So if you're the Sharks, which side are you going to try to get to with this breeze?
I think I'm going to go. I'd probably go around the back mid there. I think they need to come into their forward 50. I think that they need to tag. They got a couple of loose players, Swans, and Michaela High, probably Naira as well. Yeah.
What about, do you think the Swans will attack on this side? We're just looking at that windsock. Does the Swans attack on one side and East Fremantle attack on the other, which means this game might actually break open. We might see a bit of attempted end-to-end play.
Yeah, I think so. I think that there'll be probably a lot less ball ups if they do that as well. So yeah.
So Swans have kicked the last 4 goals in the game. East Fremantle's last goal came midway through the first term, and they haven't scored since that moment. 2 scoreless quarters in a row. Now, the field umpires have just delayed the game because I think they've noticed that there is an error on the scoreboard which wasn't corrected by the goal umpires. Not on our scoreboard, on the big scoreboard here at East Fremantle Oval. It's showing 4 goals, 5-28, which isn't correct. I'll correct that in a moment. One of the goal umpires, in fact, has actually run up to the man on the scoreboard. I reckon he's hiding behind the scoreboard itself, Degs.
And we need to know,
in some shelter.
We need to know his name because he was at... These goal umpires were at the Amos yesterday.
Right.
And he was there all this... Actually,
so there's our scoreboard. It says 4-5-28. I'd say the man on the scoreboard's gone home. It's cold and it's wet and the wind is blowing directly into his face up there. And he is not coming out from his little cave behind that scoreboard. So let's have a look at the goal umpire. He is working very hard running around the boundary fence to get back to his position to the left of screen. Look at him go.
People have often asked, how come there has to be a fitness requirement for goal umpires? This is why. Running backwards is difficult. This bloke's actually doing a 400.
He's going to go through the gate and continue his run. And there's a lot of space behind those goals as well.
Yeah, he's got a lot more foot on the ground now than
carrying
he had
some
earlier.
flags. It's a good effort.
He's tired towards the end of that, but good run.
Now, the news from Leadable Oval is that Subiaco lead by 5 points over Peel Thunder at three-quarter time. Peel had the lead at half-time. Subiaco actually had the lead at quarter time. So you would imagine Peel might finish with the breeze in the last quarter there. So Fascinating contest at both venues. First week of WAFL Women's Finals. Wheelster in the ruck beats Bowie. Swans had all the momentum in the third quarter. East Fremantle need a big start, and Ross is the player to get them started. Copped the high tackle there from Davison. They've had an interesting battle since half-time. Kick goes straight down the middle of the ground. Big pack of players involved already. In comes Michaela Hyde. Uses that non-preferred left just to gain some ground again. Coming up to meet the footy is Sharp. Kicked an important goal in the third quarter. Just towed the ball to her own advantage and then laid the hand pass off. Wheelster dragged off a kick. Doesn't go 15. Plushki in the opposite direction. Skids it along the ground. Messy footy. And both teams desperate just to gain meterage as O'Sullivan comes through. Gains some further ground for East Fremantle. This ball continues to run. Maguire gets some support from Boucher, who's moved into defence in the second half after copping a heavy knock right on half-time. Kick is trapped by Webb, and she kicks for the open space. Towards Sharp. Ball skids on past her and Plushki. Anderson comes in to be a part of the contest, and the little side foot soccer kick was just a bit too heavy. And the lasso move comes from the boundary umpire, and right in front of our broadcast position, it'll be Schleicher's free kick.
A little bit more left to right than round to round for me. Schleicher. Just commentating the boundary umpire here. Bauer goes through her. Into Osborne. Been solid today again. Ross, very busy. Casting the role of hero and villain today. Boucher holding the length of this stoppage on Lewis. Race towards the goal for both of them. Kicked off the ground eventually from Caitlin Catalano. It's through for a point. Just intrigued to see what was going to happen there if that ball had a run on between Boucher and Lewis, who were adamant that neither of them were going to get free.
So Emily Maguire takes the football. And she thought about the short one. She knows she likes to kick it longer. Thought about the short one again and decided, yep, that'll do me. Best option in the end. Fiona Boucher played most of her career as a defender, played most of this season as a key forward. Moved back into defence in the second half today. And this is good little short pass ball movement from Swans, although Osborne just took a bit too long there. Got herself out of trouble. She's been a goal kicker today as well, after receiving a 100-metre penalty, possibly a 150-metre penalty. Not sure if there were 2 or 3 50s awarded in that passage of play that ended up in a goal for her. Gomes was tackled there. And a ball up, but Swan's got that out of defensive 50 a bit too easily for East Fremantle's liking. Bowie in the ruck. Down towards Wong. Squeezes a kick inside. Sprudelin can't handle the football. Brianna Hyde holds her up, controls the footy at ground level. Through comes Versace, tackled by Davison and thrown to ground. We'll see a ball up again as they look to separate, and Versace has to just reposition the headband.
Really looked like speak like a pirate day from Versace there. Looks like she's wearing an eye patch for a moment. All ricocheting around again. Lots of people on this stoppage here, and you can see how important these first bits of play are. The players are really posturing and gesturing and working for front position. A bit of dominance in this game. It's on the line. There's no doubt about that. One team goes on, the other team goes out. Osborne, Versace takes the ball off her, kicks into the forward 50, one-on-one ahead. Lewis is wrapped up by Boucher, just engaged the body, and Lewis will get the first shot since halfway through the first quarter, and she's well within range. This breeze is providing not the issue that it had earlier. It's weakened, and it's going across the ground. So this will pull Lewis's kick from a left to right. Big part of her game is her competitive ball work, and in the air she nurses this one through, and it's a lovely kick. It's all clear. East Fremantle 6 points closer to Swan Districts, and very, very important little piece of play there, particularly isolating Lewis ahead of the ball, putting a bit of pressure on Boucher. Nice careful kick from Lewis. Doesn't always finish as well as she gets it. For her hard work, she's going to get a rest. Rosie Walsh coming forward to replace her. Umpires just working the ball back to the middle of the ground. That ball must have been blown away by the wind because the boundary umpires have had some extended time.
Scoreboard attendant has returned.
He's
back. Got the poncho on now and the hood. Fantastic to see that they are back in position. Don't look super happy about being there, to be honest, Eggs.
I think that might be Chloe Riley's sister, actually.
Hope she's getting well paid. So it's 4-4 playing 3-3. The scoreboard, when it was corrected during three-quarter time, added the extra point. So it is 4-4 to 3-3. It's a 7-point lead now to Swan Districts. As Webb gets low to collect that football. Pops it out in the direction of Anderson. Under pressure there from Kakamo. Ball spills out and it's holding the ball. Didn't get rid of it legally. And then it wasn't returned on the full, but the umpire says that's okay. Kakamo with the free kick. East Fremantle have a little bit of momentum themselves now, after Swans dominated the contest in the third quarter. Nice work from Davison. Really liked her once she's been moved onto the ball today. Socket forward by Cripps. That was blocked. Slicer in the opposite direction with a little banana. Gets it out of the area. Here's Davison again. Hand pass away. Gets it to Michaela Hyde. Back to Davison. She's going to be caught by Kakamo. Just got the hand pass away in the nick of time. Ball comes back to Prentice. Her kick was blocked. Cripps is there to knock it on and then go and collect it. Off to Cox. Squeezes a left-footed kick forward. That was smothered. Hard footy to be won at centre half forward here for Swans. Cox goes down. East Fremantle player down holding her knee. There's some concerns for her. East Fremantle players have stopped. Meanwhile, Swans go on. Kick on goal from Morrison has missed to the right. And I reckon we'll have some sort of delay here because there is a Shark down holding her knee. And I think it might be Plushke at centre half back for East Fremantle. And some of her teammates are calling for a stretcher already, which is never a good sign. So be a delay in the game. That behind gives Swans an 8-point lead as the stretcher is going to be run out onto the field for Samara Plushke. And that's not great for Samara, not great for East Fremantle either. The teams will gather into a little bit of a huddle to different areas. And Plushke's day will be finished there. You could see some concern from her teammates immediately. They knew that there was an issue. And Plushke is down holding her knee. Will be stretchered off in just a moment. So Swans have gathered in a bit of a huddle and they're walking their way over towards, I thought they were coming towards the bench for a moment, but no, they're just going to have a chat with Emily Maguire. And then the Sharks are in the middle of the ground as well, as we'll watch the replay here. Cox with her kick smothered and Plushke came in and just had her legs taken from underneath her as Cox went hard at the football. So a genuine footballing accident, and it's an injury there for Samara Plushke. So Bella, at this sort of time when there's a big stoppage and there'll be a real delay in the game, what sort of things are the captains talking about at the moment, do you think? What sort of messages have been given in each of the huddles?
Well, I think you'll see, especially usually in the fourth quarter, the physicality really comes out in the game, as you'll see with the injury. And I think Swans are trying to really itching to get into their forward 50. They just really need to keep East Freo to that 8-point lead. I think if East Freo keep playing the way they will, they may be able to turn the game around.
3 Sharks come sprinting to the bench as well, so both coaches taking the opportunity to make a few rotations. As Plushke has been loaded onto the stretcher, she's being helped off. The clock next to the scoreboard has stopped, so Degs, that's correct. I think when there's an injury like this, the clock doesn't continue to run, so that is good news for the game itself. Don't want to lose any time through a delay like this.
It's the only time the clock does stop too, but the timekeeper next to us stopped it immediately as soon as the umpire put his hand up and the stretcher went on the ground. Usually umpires have to make a couple of attempts to stop the clock because it doesn't usually stop, of course, so it's a bit of a different thing.
And it's a countdown clock here at East Fremantle Oval as well, so 13:43 left on the clock with East Fremantle down by 8 points. And if anything, that breeze that's going mostly across the ground seems to have been favouring the left of screen since half-time, but really no clear advantage to either end, as there's a warm round of applause for Samara Plushke, her right leg being assisted there by a couple of the trainers. And it looks as though it could well be quite a serious injury to her right knee, which is a real shame for her and for the Sharks. As we're just about ready to get ourselves back in action, that behind the Swans giving them a lead of 8 points, 13:43 left on the clock.
Norwich to bring it back in. Swans well set as you'd expect. Plays on. Long kick's a good ball. Away, Bowie. Cox, clean off the deck as usual. Confronted by O'Sullivan. Stacks on the mill. And a reset. Yeah, it's hard to call it at this stage. Bella, I think you're sort of saying that the Sharks are pressing and using the right side of the ground, using the side of the ground that you actually said that you would. It's working for them. Swanee's probably at this stage not quite as definitive with the area of the ground they're trying to operate in. That's a good tackle from Cox on Schleiser. She's been really good. She managed to get the ball away. The umpire gave her plenty of time. Ball's on the ground again. Ross skittles through her. Ruskowski tracking the ball. O'Sullivan, good pressure. Numbers around the ball again. A couple of heads getting whacked and a couple of bodies getting drived in. Get a ball up.
Just saw Phil Seth, who's acting as the physio for East Fremantle. She's got a big brace on her right knee after injuring her knee a few weeks ago. She's gone and asked for the assistance of the ambulance officers here as well that are going into the East Fremantle rooms. So certainly a leg injury. You imagine it's a knee, but let's hope it's not a break either. Saw a broken ankle here last time we were here, I think, Degs, with Lara Filicomo from Subiaco. That's a long kick with the breeze catching hold of that one. It has come off hand, so it'll be a boundary throw-in rather than a lasso move from the boundary umpire and a free kick. Chloe Riley jogging back inside 50. She's a dangerous player up forward for East Fremantle. Haven't seen the best of her just yet today, but she is that type of player that if she gets a moment or two to have an impact on the game, she will. Lauren Osborne will watch her very closely right to the final siren. 12 minutes of play remaining in this one. Just over a goal the difference, so both teams well and truly in the contest. And they both know that if they can't get over the line today, their season is finished. The tackle from Cox was fierce. On hands and knees is Wong again. It comes out to Gomes, squeezes a kick out wide. Clever from Ross, knocked it back towards Tinson, just overruns it. Bree Hyde comes back in to apply some pressure. So too Holwell, who's impressed everyone again today. Those flashy orange boots, and she backs it up the way she plays.
Ruskowski. Bowie wins it down into the hands of Ross. Little shove under the ball was a good one from Riley. Opens up for Catalano. Ralph getting back there, strips of the football. Maguire, as usual, calm in a crisis. A little handball towards Osborne. Takes a little while to find the handle and turns it over to Ross. Really patrolling that wing now well, Ross. Not looking inside. Obviously taking Bella Lewis's instruction of playing that side of the ground. Getting under the ball that time. The East Fremantle forwards, ball skittling back towards Boucher. Professional little fumble, so she doesn't get caught with the ball. O'Sullivan arrives trying to get through. She's blocked by Boucher, and she's tackled by Emma Nannett as well. It's time to be really wary of Gabby O'Sullivan if you're a Swans defender. Rosie Walsh pulls this one down. Good tap into Versace's area. Sharked by Lauren Osborne, and Osborne wrapped up by Versace.
Looks like they're well set up here, Bella. The Sharks have got it locked in.
Yeah, I think it'll be dangerous if Gabby O'Sullivan runs through, which she often does.
She's
She'll
on the
probably
move.
get a kick on goal.
Nannett watching her closely. Ball goes back towards the boundary. Riley there as well. Worked towards the line by Brianna Hyde. Gabby O'Sullivan does enjoy doing a bit of umpiring while she's out there on the field, Degs, and she was just asking the question there quite politely.
Stays engaged in the game, Gabby.
does. It's probably the most polite inquiry I've seen from her. Just questioning the umpire, putting it in his mind. Maybe next time we'll get one for deliberate. Boundary throw in. Walsh with the fist to the front of the pack. Versace was on the way through, left the ball behind. Two Swans wrestle over the football. Eventually the tackle applied by O'Sullivan, who hails the cab and throws the ball back to the umpire. Davison slow to get to her feet. As the clock continues to run, we're inside the last 10 minutes of this contest. Cox under pressure. Hand pass back to Osborne, paddling and tapping the ball towards the boundary. It's out of play again. Throw in. Again, the question asked by the Sharks. Chloe Riley this time just questioning the umpire. Adding the pressure.
Don't worry about that young fella.
8 points the advantage to Swans.
Pressure on, deep in the forward pocket for East Fremantle. Some tired players, as you can see. Lauren Osborne, immensely experienced. Chloe Riley in her second season after debuting in 2019. Now, had to duck to avoid being killed in this instance. Krzyzewski very clumsy, and Tinson was wise enough to keep herself alive, and with the free kick, Sharks going back in. Generally a long kick of the football, Tinson. She lifts this one up to give her forwards a chance. Boucher's got a good read of it. It gets over her hands and goes over the over the line and out of bounds. Far right-hand pocket. East Fremantle still surging. Swans really struggling to clear this ball from 50. There's no room really for them to operate down there. Guys have sort of straightened up their throws. That was to the top of the goal square in the first quarter. Now they're more traditional. This ball squeezed out by Riley towards Caitlin Catalano. Doesn't need a lot to do a heap with. Holwell is caught holding the ball, and it's Catalano who's a clever kick. No, she's going to have to hand this one off. It gets in the hands of Riley. You can just about chalk it up. Who's got it?
Versace.
It's Versace. Well, I'm going to back up. She's a good kick of the football. Doesn't matter if she makes a mistake once. We all make mistakes.
Could not kick it as badly as that last one.
No, as long as no worms call for this one, it's all going to be good. Versace. This ball will be pulled back into the goals if she starts it out to the left. She's a very clever player, and that's exactly what she's done. She's popped it out to the left and let the breeze do the work. And what a celebration. The hot Coles hot step Indian Guru run as the celebration was fantastic. Watch this replay again. Just carefully puts it in for the breeze. And as soon as she hits it, she knows it's in. And there's the hot step. Double fingers as she goes back into the midfield to take her post.
The roll of the eyes from Bella Lewis there as you described that was priceless. It's a good thing the camera wasn't on us.
Yeah.
Well, momentum swung again here, Bella.
It does get into me at different times.
Bella does, yeah. There's been a few elbows thrown your way this afternoon.
Usually in the State Academy gym, I'll get a bit of lift.
What do Swans need to do now, Bella? Because East Fremantle have got all the run of play now.
Yeah, Swans really, I think they need to keep very close on the East Freo. I think they're starting to get quite confident in the way they're playing their footy, so they just need to keep really tight.
Might need to score again here, Swans. East Fremantle with all the momentum. There's a goal or two left in them, you would imagine. 7 minutes of play to go in the first semi-final. Tough contest in there. Jess Cox, strong at the contest. Tinson hands it back to the umpire. Wilstra in the ruck, wins it down with the left palm. Everyone's matched up pretty closely. Ross tries to barge her way through. Webb's got her covered. And another ball up required. Just 2 points in it. A replay of last year's grand final, this time in the first semi-final. Swans know how to work their way out of the first semi into the grand final. They did it last year. Could have almost been a free kick there to Webb. Instead, Maguire soccering and then collecting. Great tackle, Catalano. Drove her into the turf fairly, according to the umpire. Another ball up needed. And the intensity's really lifted, as you'd expect in the final quarter of a first semi.
Feeling the pressure of the crowd too, I think the players. Bowie, clean tap down towards Catalano. Can't get a run of it. Tangled up again. Tinson, head over the football. Maguire has her. Bowie starting to control the ruck. It's another chance. Even Stevens, though, East Fremantle's way. Jess Cox has been clean. Can't get a kick away again. Wong sits on this one. Cox again trying to work the way through. Just flipping it out was Sullivan. Just trying to get the ball going. A little handball to no one in particular was Stribley. Nannick can't find the handle. Pressure from Sullivan and from Versace. Building nicely for the Sharks again. Lauren Osborne's pushed off the football by Riley. Not for the first time today. Riley's been good with the body. Coming through was Catalano. It's in the hands of Sullivan. She pulls it around the corner. It'll bounce and bounce through. Gabby O'Sullivan does it again. Every moment needs someone to rise to the occasion. And this moment, the woman is O'Sullivan. Sharks on the march. It's very hard for the Swans now. They need to get the ball in their hands and they need to start controlling some ball because the crowd is now firmly, as you can hear in the mics, behind the Sharks.
Well, you picked it earlier, Bella. You said Gabby O'Sullivan would be critical, and that's her time right now.
Yeah, she always is. Tends to be fourth quarter.
Hasn't had a massive impact on the game, but that moment there has put her side back in front for the first time in a while. And after not scoring a goal through the second and third quarters, the Sharks have found 3 in this term. So a complete reversal of the third quarter. Now East Fremantle lead with 4.5 minutes left on the clock. Wheelstra knocks it Swans' way. First onto it was Ross. Missed the football though. Swans holding it in. Michaela Hyde a good tackle on Wong. And we'll ball it up again. Time now against Swan Districts. Would have almost been making their preparations for the preliminary final 5 or 6 minutes ago, but East Fremantle, as a good side always does, responding well, and they're happy just to chew up as much clock as they can with these repeat stoppages. Bowie wins in the ruck towards Tinson. Just gets the hand pass away. Ross a hurry kick forward. O'Sullivan lurking again. Gets her boot in the way. Riley a little paddle. Then socket off the deck. Couldn't quite make contact with the footy. Gelmy gets in there as well. Tinson again involved. Just rushing the ball forward. Catalano now. No clear possessions here, but they've gained 30 or 40 metres. O'Sullivan away to Hyde. Taken to ground by Wong. Doesn't get rid of the football and she's penalised. She was hoping for a push in the back. Umpire said there was nothing in it, and Wong will get the free kick. Everything going the way of the blue and whites at the moment. Wong will go straight down the ground. The fist from Maguire goes to the foot of Riley. Riley with the outside of the boot. Away to the left. That would have finished things off, I think, for East Freo. Instead, the ball is back in the hands of Swan Districts. They trail by 3 with 3 to play.
Just can't get any clean possession at the moment, the Swans. Kayla Hyde keeping her feet there and back feeding would have been a beauty. Instead, the reset from the square. Ralph. Bit square, looking for Maguire, but Michaela Hyde keen to get the ball in her hands. She steps Wong beautifully, drives the ball down the line. Williams is favoured by this, can't quite get the handle. She's going to have Morrison and Anderson to deal with. Anderson comes through, releases the handball to a running Davison, who's immediately tackled. And good impetus by the Swan Districts Footy Club to try and get that ball forward, but wonderful defence by the Sharks. Wellstrup and Bowie go at it again. Ross knocked off the footy was Brehard, knocked over by O'Sullivan fairly, it looked. Wong at the bottom of the pack again. Dragged down in front of the ball was Alston. Ball bouncing around inside. Sharks inside this. Swans holding the outside balance. So any ball that comes out, it's going to go the Swans' favour, but Sharks don't let it out.
2 minutes to go. 2 minutes left in the season for one of these teams. It's a 5-point lead to East Fremantle. Bowie swats it forward. Sharp first onto the football. Swans have hardly been inside 50 this quarter. Stribley overruns the footy. Riley sends it in the opposite direction. High kick, it'll land just short of centre half forward. Out the back it goes. Catalano's got some speed, but so's Nanit. She hand passes in front of herself. Catalano goes and gets it again. Ralph comes in and applies the pressure, worries her out of it. Then she's caught by O'Sullivan, holding the ball. Versace thought about dashing onto the footy. Probably smart play. She could just about take the full 30 seconds here because Gabby O'Sullivan is a long kick, and I reckon she'll convince the goal umpire here that she's going to have a shot for goal. Clock continues to run. Just over a minute of play left, and O'Sullivan is lining up to have a shot. She is a long kick, Bella, but I don't think she's got this within her, has she?
Yeah, I think she's just trying to waste as much time as she can, which is good from East Free. I think they need as many repeat stoppages as they can to really lock it in.
So O'Sullivan lining it up, but happy to take 30 seconds off this game clock. And any score would really hurt Swan District. She kicks away to the right, it comes off hands, and it is a behind. And that now makes it an even goal. And we're inside the last minute of this first semi-final. Swans need to go straight down the middle, and they need a score.
Here we go, Emma Maguire. She understands the situation. She's played a lot of footy. She tries to get the ball up to the corridor. Can't quite get it. East Fremantle flood this place. Maddie Ross will be happy with a repeat stoppage, as Isabella Lewis said. Swans fans are calling for holding the ball. But it's going to be a ball up, and time is ticking away. 19 seconds. It's 2 kicks. The third kick in a mark required. Anything forward from the Sharks here is going to seal the deal and keep their season going on by a week. This second stoppage is going to do it now. It's 9 seconds. It's been all East Fremantle in the last quarter. And I'll wait for a call here. The Sharks season has arrived for 1 week. A difficult season for the Swan finishes. And there's the siren. And it's East Fremantle 35. One clear kick ahead of the Swan Districts Football Club. And a wonderful game of football went down to the wire. East Fremantle Sharks coach Nikki Harwood is once again in Evie Gooch's arms, this time at the end of an elimination final rather than a grand final.
Well, it's a remarkable fight back from East Fremantle, and it continues this run that they're having. 3 weeks ago, Bella, they needed to win every game to make the finals. They did just that. Every one of those wins was 8 points or less, and now they've got to win 3 finals to defend their championship, and they've beaten Swans by a goal.
Yeah, I think that East Free have been on quite a roll, I think, since they beat us by a point. And I think that they'll be really dangerous going into the prelim and then also the grand final.
There's definitely a feeling, Degs, around the other clubs, and there's plenty of players and officials at the other clubs happy enough to say it, that while East Fremantle are in it, they're extremely dangerous, and they've got one eye on East Fremantle as well as one eye on the opponent that they're playing against.
There's a number of premiership players out there, of course, with East Fremantle. They've been here before. They've experienced this, the highs and lows and the fears, and it just seemed to me towards the end of that game is that East Fremantle's composure under extreme pressure was just a little more solid than Swannies. The Swannies very good today. Maybe a bit of energy catching up in the middle. Maybe Davison burnt out after a power of work in the third term. But also upsetting, difficult season for the Swans. Lost their mentor and coach in Cara Antonio before the season. A couple of players chose to not play this year in her absence. And of course, losing Leith Woods for personal reasons, and Joe Taylor doing a wonderful job to get him to this point. So it's been a very good, very, very difficult season for the Swan Districts Footy Club. Meanwhile, over at East Fremantle, they haven't got the service of a lot of their AFLW players. Some of their lesser-known players have stood up tall. One of those players is on screen right now. Norrish, with a heavily bandaged right knee, was once again solid in defence for the Sharks.
So they'll go into the huddle with the two teams mixed up again. It's a nice touch at the end of the game. A bitter pill, though, for Swan Districts to swallow here. They had that game under control at three-quarter time. The early goal to Lewis with free kick going her way just got themselves back into the game, East Fremantle. and then a real rush. Versace's goal from the angle was superb, and we've been mentioning it all day that Gabby O'Sullivan was the type of player you needed to watch right to the final siren. And it wasn't the sort of day she had a massive impact throughout the afternoon, Bella, but again, right at the end, she was the one that proved the difference and scored the winning goal.
Yeah, I think that throughout the game, she just had a couple of impact moments that were really crucial for them to come over the top, which was really good to see. So her helping out the teammates as well.
Hopefully we've got a bit of a picture here of Elliot Rayto, who's wearing ankle freezers. He's out there doing the social media stuff. He's going into the social media manager's role. His ankles are cold.
It's brave of Elliot to get back outside again. He's been inside for 3 quarters now, ever since the rain arrived. He came in here, he put his 3rd layer on, zipped up to the top. And they're going to bring their huddle across, I think, in front of the East Fremantle members to do their song. They're about to form the huddle to sing the song, but I think they're going to take it over to where their spectators are. And it's an amazing run that they're on. Bella mentioned that they beat Claremont by a point here, and then they got the game against Subiaco had to be moved here rather than played at Subi's home ground. They beat Subi by 8. They came from behind to beat Swans last week by 3 points. They've done the same thing again today to win by 6 points. So 3 wins in a row, a total of 18 points, the margins in those games. And they have brought the huddle right over to Samara Plushke, who is sitting on the bench, having injured her knee. Unfortunately for our cameras, they've gone out of our camera shot, which is a real shame, but I reckon we'll hear them when they get into the song in just a moment. Samara Plushke injuring her leg earlier in the last quarter, and that didn't stop East Fremantle's momentum at all. Here is the song. Unfortunate for our vision that we couldn't capture that, because it was a pretty good celebration from East Fremantle. And the injured Samara Plushke able to be part of the song as well for East Fremantle as they do progress.
As all the kids.
All the kids are in there as well.
All the players' children and nieces and nephews in there singing the song as well. Wonderful to see.
So next week they'll progress to the preliminary final against either Subiaco or Peel. The last update we had was that the Lions were up by 5 points at 3/4 time in that one. But highlights of the entire match here. East Fremantle started well, but then Swans controlled the next couple of quarters. Was there anything in particular, Bella, you noticed in the last quarter that seemed to swing things East Fremantle's way?
Yeah, I think that they, I think a lot of it's self-belief as well. A lot of teams go into 4th quarter under, not trailing behind a little bit and think, this is probably not going to go our way. But I think they kept their belief, and Swans dropped a little bit, and I think that was how they were able to come over the top.
They certainly did. In the end, goals to Lewis, Versace and O'Sullivan in the last quarter, and Catalano and Bird kicking the goals in the first term. Whereas for Swans, Morrison, Sharp, Osborne and Michaela Hyde were their goal kickers. No multiple goal kickers on the game. It's East Fremantle's highest score, Diggs, would you believe, since the first game of the season when we saw them kick 14 goals against South Fremantle.
Same thing as the reverse mock. I'd say they only kick 3 goals a game, and they just blow that straight out of the water. But Gabby O'Sullivan, woman for the moment, not for the first time this season, certainly the spirit and the heart at the moment that's driving the Sharks forward. Plenty of support around for her too, of course. But obviously with Philippa Seth going out, Schleiser, Seth and Sullivan were a very tantalising trio across the ground for the Sharks. But it's obviously still all there for the Sharkies. They've got to play either one of Peel or Subiaco next week.
They'll play Peel because Subiaco have won 4-4-28 to 3-4-22. There wasn't a score in the last quarter, would you believe? Subiaco managed to shut the game down. 2 goals to Kia Buckley, 1 to Schmidt and 1 to Dowrick. While for Peel, 2 goals to Bartlett and 1 to Wrigley. So next week it'll be Peel and East Fremantle. I would imagine we'll be heading on the road down to David Gray's Arena for the preliminary final. On the road again down to Mandurah. And Subiaco will get to watch on and find out who it is that they take on in the grand final. There'll be a lot of relief around Leederville Oval, Diggs, because Subiaco last year were minor premiers, went out in straight sets, and at 3/4 time today, they were clinging to a lead, but they've managed to hang on and they're into a grand final.
They're a very dangerous team, of course, Subiaco, even without Filicamo, had a wonderful season. In fact, I think it was her best season, even including the 2 where she was drafted, and unfortunately lost her. But obviously Subi's still finding a way. They're well coached, they're well structured, they're very disciplined. Today, as we saw with East Fremantle, stayed true to their plan. A couple of times the Swannies in that last quarter had to put their head and shoulders over the ball and East Fremantle beat them to it and won it out. So well done to the Sharks today. Swannies were brave all season. They were good today as well. Probably feel like they've let one get away, but if I was in the Swans camp, I'd be thinking about regrouping. A very, very young team that's going to be together for a very, very long time. Some real class from end to end, and all are very young with some really good senior players. So Swannies will do their review. I think they'll be reasonably happy with what they're able to achieve. I think they'll feel they could have done a bit more today. But a couple of their players might be heading on to AFLW lists too, of course, with a couple of them testing in the combine, and Sinead Davison having one hell of a season this year. To the Sharks, wonderful today, and you just don't know next week,
going,
do you?
don't they?
Yeah, well,
it's quite amazing. Their run that they're on at the moment has been brilliant, and they will continue on for at least one more week, and they're only one more win away from a grand final yet again. Bella Lewis, it's been fantastic to have you with us in the commentary box. We think you've done a wonderful job up here today. Just an absolute natural. We wish you all the best for the next few months as your AFLW dream hopefully comes to fruition, and we hopefully get to watch you playing on either the Eagles or the Dockers list this time next year.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good to be here.
And Dex, we'll hit the road. We're off to Mandurah next week, I think. Oh, no, you're not. You're
I'm
up
out.
north.
I'm up
You
north.
got out of it again. Great.
I'm actually up north watching the Pilbara Pride games.
Oh,
up
okay,
there.
very
So
good.
Doing a couple of coaches courses up there, or probably more like coaching forums, talking about HP.
Can't do the Bruce McAvaney with you from the
Falling
commentary
off the
box
screen.
somewhere else. No?
Yeah, I think you have to be a bit better at things than I am to be trusted like that.
Oh, well, it's been good to have you with us this afternoon as well, and hopefully I think this rain has passed just about. We might be able to get back to our cars without getting too wet today. That'd be fantastic. Thanks to Front Row Screens for all their work again, getting us on air. And well done to East Fremantle. Winners in the first semi-final today. Swans are finished for 2020, but the Sharks will go on and play Peel next week for the right to play Subiaco in the grand final. Stick with us. We'll be back with the preliminary final here for WAFLW streaming on Front Row Screens next weekend.
This WAFLW live stream is brought to you by Optus, proud naming rights partner of the Waffle and the WAFLW. The rear-wheel drive V6 twin-turbo Kia Stinger. Simply Energy, proudly supporting WA footy. And the West Coast Eagles, supporting WA female footballers to follow their dreams.